Hello, everybody. Xin Chao Vao Chao Mung Den Voi, one world, one Blood Bowl. Which, as our many listeners and occasional viewers on YouTube in Vietnam will know, means good evening and welcome to One World, One Blood Bowl. I'm proud to say the number one gaming podcast in Vietnam in the last month. Quite something. In Namibia, we are sixth. So to all the people in Namibia, thank you for watching One World, One Blood Bowl. Anyone chuckling at the racism of that is in fact racist themselves. The official language of Namibia is, of course, English. So that very understandable to our Namibian followers. Come on, Namibia. We can rise up from sixth. We can make it into the top five. I believe in Namibia and Namibia's Blood Bowl. So I've brought some young people on, as has been interestingly and instantly noticed by the very few people deciding that this is content they would rather watch than the World Cup final, which we are recording this during. Come on, Argentina, and Viva España. So, I'm joined by three lovely people who we are going to go through the Blood Bowl races of Season 3 in 2026, and we are going to decide what is cool and what is not cool. It's an incredibly subjective thing to try and do. Luckily, we're all incredibly cool, so it's going to be very, very easy for us. It's not necessarily what's good at Blood Bowl or what's hot or what will be the top of the meta. It's what's interesting, what's fun, what when someone pulls it out and says, I'm coaching this, do you go, oh yeah, cool. Not just because you're going to get an easy win, but because what they're doing is inherently cool, or the models are cool, or the plan is cool, or it just has that certain coolness that is hard to define, but we will know it when we see it. So Acorn, BB Nut has mentioned is cool. Acorn, I absolutely can confer, is cool. If we ever did a Cool War for Stars, he would be sat atop it. Acorn is ineffably and inescapably cool. But what are the races and what are the obviously much younger than me people I've brought on to talk about them? In a desperate bid to up my credibility and appear less the Jeremy Clarkson talking about cool to a generation that are too busy interested in back rooms and skibbity toilet res to listen to a word I say. I've brought on some incredibly young people and one old person hiding under a youthful face. So let me introduce the three people that are with us this evening. And will be responsible for judging what is and what is not cool in Blood Bowl in 2026. Directly above me, you know him, you love him, but probably not as much as I do, though in an entirely appropriate way from a much older man to an increasingly not that young man. Welcome back to the show, Hargrim. Hello.
Thanks for having me back again, PC.
Always welcome. Pleasure. You know, love that. You know, I love you and I love having you on. So why are you cool and what do you know about Blood Bowl? Let's have a brief introduction into your backstory.
Well, I'm young, I'm hip, I have tattoos, that's more to love. Origin story-wise, I was introduced by my co-organizer for Copenhagen Pier Bowl, which I will talk about later, back in 2016 when the board game was re-released, and coming from a background of Warhammer Fantasy Battles, I fell in love immediately, and I have not been able to let go of this drug that we call Blood Bowl. So...
That's entirely reasonable. Your love for Blood Bowl has taken you across the world. You're an international player, I believe.
Yes, I travel 4 to 5 times a year. Once a year to Thrud Bowl, which I'm proudly representing today.
Absolutely.
And then I try and mix up my tournaments across Europe as much as possible. There are some that I return to every now and then I'm trying to expand my borders and see what other cool tournaments are out there, usually by meeting people at said international events that I go to.
Sounds incredibly cool, and that beard suits you. Don't let anyone tell you different. And it's not important if the moustache and the beard can join. I mean, that will happen in time. It's not important. Don't fret.
Slightly joined, not really that much. But
don't worry about it. Don't worry about anyone telling you you're far too young for that sort of beard. The Musketeers had them. Why shouldn't you? So I've been joined, I'm thrilled to say, by two lovely new people. I do love having new people on One World, One Blood Bowl. First of all, let's talk to the incredibly cool Breakmonker is with us. Hello, Breakmonker.
Good evening, PC. Good evening, everyone. Why am I cool?
Yeah.
Well, I've looked 24 for the last 14 years, so I think that's quite cool.
I think that's quite cool.
Yeah. Blood Bowl story, played a bit of League, and then got into NAF tournament back in 2019 and got addicted at Monkey Bowl, which I'm going to just plant in there as the best rule set. Then did a bit of Chalice online, Blood Bowl 2, a bit of Blood Bowl 3, and just addicted to Blood Bowl ever since.
And I can hear a twang there, which our foreign listeners, this is obviously a global podcast, may not recognise. You are of the north, I believe.
Well, technically, I've been here for quite some time, but I'm actually from London, but I live in the northeast.
Shocking what they've done to your accent.
It's a bit hybridized.
Come home, the smoke will have you back any day. Now, also quite cool, I believe you've represented your country at Blood Bowl. Was that fun?
Yeah, it was wonderful, great experience in Athens when Core was heading up Team England. Yeah, great opportunity coming off the back of the World Cup, and that was a great exciting time as well. But yeah, amazing. It wasn't my best outing, but dice will be dice. But yeah, it was great. Thank you.
So he's a Londoner up north. He's represented his country. He's looked young for longer than I've been playing Blood Bowl. Breakmonker is cool, and that's why I'm pleased to have him on the show. And then we have someone who is genuinely actually young, like Hargrim used to be before he grew a beard to try and hide amongst the grown-up people in the world. Hexbaron, welcome to One World, One Blood Bowl. Lovely to have you on.
Hello, lovely to be on. Thank you very much.
So, other than being 12 and playing Great Blood Bowl, what makes you cool? What got you into Blood Bowl? Why are you here?
I have looked 12 for the last 14 years or whatever it was, unfortunately. Yeah, I mean, I got into Blood Bowl when I was about 12. I think I was about 15. I picked it up on PSP. I've been playing Warhammer Fantasy and playing 40k, and I wanted some Warhammer to take with me, and I played it a little bit on PSP, and then that kind of died out a bit, and then started playing a little bit in local league in 2017, and then started my own league in 22, and then have been playing more and more Blood Bowl ever since. Gone from little leagues up to 50 odd tournament games a year.
Now I see a Team England jersey proudly upon your chest.
It's also been cold.
Are you Team England, Squad England, England Youth, England Future, England Next Generation, England Light, England caffeine free?
Not quite young enough to be on the England under 21s, unfortunately. But yeah, so I'm on the Team England Open team this year. So part of the 12, going out to Poland alongside Punchy McRagefists and Juju and Elspunia. Really cool. It'll be my first international tournament as well.
Fantastic. I've predicted that you will end up in Team England before too long. My tip, find one of the older people, just grease their shoes a little bit. I've heard that can work wonders. So those are the three people joining me to assess what is what in terms of what is cool. Oh, I do apologise. Someone told me off for coughing whilst on this new, much more sensitive microphone. I have made sure I've oiled my mouse. I have already opened any drink I plan to do this evening, so there won't be any pssts. But I did therefore have a cough. My health is not as good as it could be. I do apologise if it disturbs you. I'll do what I can if I feel one coming to try and mute the mic, but at that time I was not able to. Right, so the methodology is going to be this. The lovely Hexbaron has done this for us. Let me share my screen and then we can all see it.
That youthful skill with technology.
Yeah, rather than occasionally flipping to it, I thought we would have it on the call with us. And then we can do things like this. So we've got obviously 5 different levels, going from Sub-Zero, which obviously means we think it is the super coolest thing in Blood Bowl, to cool, to tepid, to uncool, to Elon Musk. We just had to put something there, and that was what came to mind when I was thinking of the least cool thing on the planet right now. So it's definitely nothing to do with how popular he is on Reddit and Reddit hating me. It's just a name. It doesn't matter. It could be anything there. So what we're going to do is go through the races. As you can see, we have the fumble icons there visible to all. And then we have also, because I'm very lazy, this is available to you via the lovely Dementor, who has made this on Tier Maker, which is what you can see I'm using at the moment. But I was too lazy to actually label all of the fumble icons. So the lovely Hexbaron took it on himself. So he has labelled all of them. So as we put them on and as we talk about them, you'll even be able to read their names if you don't, and foolish you if you don't, recognise the fumble icons. I suggest we just crack straight in. We have said we might take 2 full episodes for this, but that's already 11 minutes of just fluff and waffle. And we want to know what is cool and what is not. So, let's start. We have Amazons under my beady little mouse. Who wants to come in and talk to me about Amazons and whether they is cool?
I'm very happy to jump in. Oh, Hargrim.
No, go ahead.
All right. Well, look, they're very try hard, aren't they? So they're very like tier 1. They're very sweaty. You know, people take them and they're very serious about them. They would be cool. You know, the whole theme's quite good. I like that, but they're not. It's the sweatiness really takes it down quite a lot. So that's going to be my opening gambit on them.
I certainly
I
recall
second
that on Blood Bowl 2 we had some very uncool sounds for them, which you didn't really want to play, I mean, at all in public. So I thought that cost them points. They have shed that. And whilst they've been top of the meta for a while, in Season 3, there's a lot of things out there beating them up, which is kind of uncool, but it kind of makes them a bit cooler.
I think with the addition of the strength 4 pieces, they're a little bit more interesting.
Definitely.
Maybe that makes them cooler than they were.
Yeah, that's a saving grace. It was very one-dimensional. I have blodge everywhere for quite some time, wasn't it?
Are elite skills helping them at all? The fact that they must now have some rodge. They can't just blodge everything with whatever skills they are allowed.
Utterly no difference. I mean, obviously it depends on the rule set that you're playing, but it makes utterly no difference. They're still really strong. They're still really sweaty. I find them better designed than the previous version of the roster, but I still think it's a really poor execution for what it is they're trying to achieve with Amazons.
Which is what is it's just like plain vanilla. Apart from the Jaguars, right? You know, it's just so like it's so repetitive 1D, right?
Yeah.
Is that enough to make them tepid, or are they uncool?
I think it's enough to make them uncool.
I mean, I have to say there's a good point from the floor, because I do want to bring in anyone here and chatting live, so welcome to you all. They don't even wear sunglasses at night, Ode to Joy has said. I cannot imagine anything on the Amazon roster wearing sunglasses at night, which definitely means they're not cool. And we all agreed Amazons are definitely lower than cool.
Definitely,
Okay.
100%. I think the whole thing with there's a whole line of miniatures as well with extra busty, thong wearing women. That's another little uncool bit. You know, you sit down against someone who's spent 40 hours on like essentially a bikini clad woman. You know, it's like okay,
That's
so that's another little chip on the uncool side there as well, I think.
I mean, I'm proud to say it was about 15 years ago I wrote a blog saying, do we constantly have to picture Amazons in underwear? That I just didn't feel it was appropriate then, and I don't still. When I got my Amazon set, I got the Zenobian Zeniths, which I would recommend to anyone. They are post-apocalyptic rather than fantasy, but they are all dressed and all look like they could, rip your limbs off.
I have the Ugni Amazons, and I was searching far and wide for a team that wasn't, scantily clad, because it makes me incredibly uncomfortable having to field a team of scantily clad women, because it doesn't sit right with me.
No.
So that's another thing that brings them down. But the Ugni ones are actually really nice, because they're actually well clothed and they're well sculpted.
I do think in general the Amazons out there do cost Amazons a point. There's just too many.
I have the old GW team, and they're the metal ones, and they're quite scantily clad for a GW team as well.
I do think the new ones are better. They've moved in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I think some of that uncool history lingers still on the Amazons, doesn't it? Wow. Absolutely. Okay, so we definitely can't be putting them in Sub-Zero or cool. I don't think they're cool enough to be tepid. I know they're more interesting now with the Strength 4s.
I think they're uncool. They are uncool.
They are definitely uncool. Are they Elon Musk level uncool though?
I think lower than uncool is doing them an injustice. I think they have some interest, and I think they've got better than they were as well.
Yeah.
So, I'll be disappointed.
There's another factor as well, though. Have you ever sat down in front of an opponent who then brings out their miniatures and goes, "I'm playing Amazons," and you go, "Oh yes." You kind of go, "Oh no."
Yeah, never. That's never going to happen either, is it?
Yeah, I did that to 6 people at the Euro Bowl last year, and I still feel awful about it, despite having to play 2 Amazon mirrors.
I think we are getting a little bit of echo on you, by the way, Breakmonker. I don't know if there's anything you can do about that. Okay, I think we are settled then that Amazons are uncool. I think in my head the only thing that has saved them from being Elon Musk level deeply uncool is that there are possible builds with things like Zolcath the Zote, and it's quite cool to occasionally see him in Blood Bowl. That with the 2 Strength 4s,
Very cool.
And with the amount of tackle mighty blow around now, they are having a tougher time, and that makes them a bit more interesting. Anyway, we might see. It might be that comparatively we just think everything else that ends up there means they end up Elon Musk, but they're definitely no higher than that. I think we're all agreed on that. Okay, a nice easy one to start with, Amazons. I can't see any problems with the next one either, which of course the next one off. The production line is Black Orcs. We are going to go alphabetically at the start. We reserve the right to completely abandon that if we get bored of it. So, Hargrim, you were last in on Amazons. Let's get you balls out on Black Orcs. Where do you stand on them, my friend? Are they cool?
Black Orcs are one of those teams where they kind of only have one playstyle, and if it doesn't work, they're going to lose. They have quite clear weaknesses, and I find them very uninteresting because they only have the one playstyle. Sure, there's some great miniatures out there, but it's just very meh. I'd probably just stick them in Tepid because there's nothing really too interesting about them, but there's nothing that brings them down too much. That's like, okay, well, this is just miserable to play against.
Okay, well, we've all learned something. Mostly it was a huge mistake to ask Hargrim his opinion first, because he was, of course, completely wrong. Breakmonker is trying to make sure that his sound isn't quite as toxic, so let's go to Hexbaron. He's a young man. He will know what's right here. Black Orcs, talk to me about them.
I don't think Black Orcs are that cool, personally. I think they don't have... They're not a very dynamic team. They have a troll and then two types of players. Like, if they had some other stuff that was a bit more interesting, then maybe they would be up there. But and they do lean into that play style of just fouling everything and then maybe throw a goblin. Like, I mean, maybe throwing goblins is kind of cool.
Throwing goblins is kind of cool.
Throwing goblins is kind of cool, but I think they're not very like dynamic as a team. It's six Black Orcs and 6 goblins and a troll.
Or sometimes 2 trolls.
Sometimes 2 trolls. I mean, okay, if you got Ripper in there...
I mean, Ripper makes them cool. Surely Ripper is quite cool.
PW would argue the Ripper makes them very
Well, I was going to say, this is a factor no one has mentioned yet. So you've brought up the legend that is PW.
Yes, and his Ripper Black Orcs. He took them
Ripper
to
Black Orcs.
the European last year,
He
and he took them to Home Nations again this year.
He did. And both of those events, he was unbeaten on them.
Yes, he's done very well at both.
Tough competitions.
Yeah,
against a mixed field.
Ripper's got Bullseye now as well.
I don't know if anyone mentioned it, but also Andy Davo went there with an unbeaten record on Norse, and didn't manage to preserve that. I don't know how that ended, but it did. But Pete W went there, faced the same tough opposition with Black Orcs with virtually nothing, and still came away unbeaten at the very top of the field. Yep. So surely that makes them cool. Breakmonker, surely. Pete W, Ripper. Just moving 4, only goblins. Surely that's kind of cool. And let me come in and talk about those models. Universally acknowledged as the absolute paradigm shift of when Games Workshop suddenly made some models and everyone went, oh, those are really good.
Yeah,
cool.
I really like the Black Orc team. I think they've got the whole dirty player fouling thing, which is a bit different, and there was never a team really designed around that before. So if someone thinks, I've always loved doing that sort of thing, it gives them that kind of outlet. Also, the kind of the theme's really strong with like big, hard, tough orcs as well. I think that adds to their coolness. And yeah, I think they're pretty cool overall.
So there we are. You're right. Hexbaron, Hargrim, what can I say about how wrong you are about Black Orcs? How uncool do you think they are?
I don't think they're that uncool. Like, just that I don't feel like they're definitely. I don't think they're Sub-Zero.
Okay.
I could maybe be persuaded.
This is what's called social pressure, and it's working. So I'm glad of that. Where the older men of the tribe tell the younger men what to do.
I'm firmly staying in Tepid. And the simple reason is I don't like the design philosophy around the team.
Grab is kind of cool.
As Hexbaron said earlier, it's very undynamic. They have one way forward, and if it doesn't work,
but they grab things.
If they
and not in a gypsy wedding kind of way, which I admit isn't okay. Sorry, Hex.
I say if they had like another goblin position or something just to make them a little bit more interesting.
A goblin that came with dirty player and sneaky gear out of the box, for example, that would be. Yeah, move the hooligan from the goblins to Black Orcs. That's where he fits, isn't it? Okay, I do think they are cooler than you people think they are, but I'm not prepared to just go full Jeremy Clarkson on this and say I decide. So I think Hargrim's saying tepid, and I don't want him to be right.
I'll allow them in cool if
because
you.
obviously he's wrong.
I think they are quite cool, though.
I think they're quite cool.
Apart from the whole Ripper thing, I think that just
Apart
takes
from
Ripper can get in the bin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ripper probably can get in the bin. I was joking. He isn't cool anymore. He used to be cool because he would regularly just roll a triple skull and ruin your entire game, and that was quite cool. But now he's even got a reroll protection on that, and he's got bullseye. I think he's not cool anymore, sadly. Acorn's still cool, of course. Acorn cool till he dies. Acorn massive. I'm putting them in cool. I think they are quite cool. I don't think they're Sub-Zero. I think there are problems with them in that they are a little bland with the one way of playing. But that way of playing is kind of unique. We have other fouly teams, but not teams that grab and foul. So perhaps there is space for them in the meta. I thought they would be too similar to lizards. I don't think they play at all like lizards, so that's kind of cool. And I do think the models really do kick them up a notch. I know people that paint, and they say they are an absolute joy to paint. They're really nicely designed. They're really dynamic. And there are options on them. So yeah, I'm quite happy to leave them in cool. Like I said, we can maybe adjust. Perhaps between episodes I can just put things where they ought to be and just ignore everything you guys have said. So it's not necessarily that they're there forever, but they're definitely there for now.
Definitely what we were expecting coming into the episode, PC.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's my show and I'm in charge of the wall. So whilst your opinions are valid and interesting, ultimately I'm going to decide. Also, as we all know, I'm incredibly cool. So that does help. Some people have just said, orcs are given away in the box. Does that affect their coolness? I mean, and the recommended for new players. I think it definitely will be a factor when we come to rate orcs, yeah. But we're talking about black orcs, which I wouldn't recommend for new players. They are not necessarily an advanced team, but a team you do need to know how Blood Bowl works to really get out of them what they're trying to do.
It was an unfortunate starter box, the last one with Nobility and Black Ox. Which
two shocking teams
not,
to start with.
Not good for new players. I think them being in the box isn't something that makes them cool or uncool, but they were not a great starter team.
I don't know. I mean, just as an example, Dark Elves used to be cool because kind of emo elves were a bit rare. And when my daughter, who's now 20, was 5, we went to the south of France and I saw a 4-year-old's t-shirt with a dark elf on it. And I thought, that's it, they're dead. They can never be cool again. When something is everywhere, it can't be cool. That is one of the rules, isn't it? Surely. If there's any madness not infected us all, surely, if you're everywhere, you cannot be cool. You are generic. Right, Bretonians. Now, talking about teams that are in the box, everyone now has Bretonians. That's cool, isn't it? Everyone wanted Bretonians. We got Bretonians. There was even a campaign. We even lost a president over Bretonians. England might lose one over being a bit dull and not communicating very well. In the NAFC, you lose being president for having a popular idea that the people that are actually running it don't want you to do. Bretonians. Who wants to talk about brand new Bretonians? Maybe someone that's actually played them. I haven't. Hargrim.
I'll start out.
Okay.
I'll start out. I actually really like Bretonians. In the sense that I think the design philosophy around the team, in that you've got the knights that are trying to combat all the strong things based on the Warhammer Fantasy lore, I really like that area of the design for the team. Plus the Nerves of Steel, they keep their cool head. Chef's kiss.
And the models.
The models are a bit bland for me.
Okay.
There's nothing that really speaks to me as a painter. That gets
I
me
disagree.
excited.
I love the models. The minis are amazing.
I love the models too, and I've had lots of fun even just doing a couple of test models so far.
To be honest, I don't get that much time to paint, but I've carved out a bit of time to paint them because they kind of lit a little fire to go. Oh, actually, I want to have a go at these.
If you like the little options you got in the Black Orc team, the heads on the knights with the different classic medieval toppers, including a jousting rabbit on a snail or something, and there's some absolutely amazing pieces in that box. Absolutely amazing.
This is one of those awkward moments where I have to let you in on a secret that most of my regular listeners will know. I don't paint, I don't model. When I talk about nice models, it's just stuff I've heard other people say that I'm repeating to sound smart or informed when I'm deeply, deeply not. So Breakmonker, what is it that you liked about those lovely models that we got free with our season 3? Putting them together, putting all that paint on them, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I think I played Warhammer Fantasy when I was a young lad. So and it was the time where it was the main box was the Lizardmen and it was the Bretonnians in the main box. So that was like 94, 95, sort of that era. And I felt like the design of the new models was, it paid a lot of respect to that. It was better. They built on it. It looks like them, so I was kind of inspired to so I kind of picked up the old box art from back in the 90s, and I was like, I'm going to try and do some of these colours on these models. So yeah, it was kind of a bit of nostalgia factor, but that's not why they're cool. So I'm trying to kind of go down the route that knights in general pretty cool. They've got armor and stuff. But I like to approach the Bretts that in the slightly. I'm trying to imagine them a bit more gritty, like think Game of Thrones knight, not like 1970s guy on a horse knight. So I'm thinking a little bit kind of along a grittier path. But the only downside is heraldry is a bit camp, isn't it? And
it is a bit.
Nothing against camp, but it's not that cool. Camp's not cool. So
camp's not cool.
Yeah, so there's an up and there's a bit of a down there as well.
There's nothing wrong with camp, but it's not cool. It's camp. It's got its own thing. Yeah, I see what you mean. I feel incredibly split over them. I mean, they are completely terrible at Blood Bowl, and that is quite inherently cool. Because if you can get any kind of tune out of them, if you're ballsy enough to say I'm going to make this work, that's kind of cool. But the uncool thing is that people are making them work by hiring Skrorg. And Bretonnians with a Yeti, that's not cool.
Yeah. Not just
it's
any
interesting,
Yeti.
it's left field, but it's kind of uncool.
It's not just any Yeti. It's a Yeti for 240 with block, claw, mighty blow, juggernaut, and no frenzy. And no, unchanneled fury.
Yeah.
It has no negative trait other than loner. It has no friends. It has no drawbacks. The star player has no drawbacks for 240,000, and Bretonnians can just fit it in without any problems, if the rule set allows them to take Skrorg in the first place.
Now,
which I find problematic.
Yes, yeah, I know, and they've put stars into categories, which still means they're very available. Not perhaps as available as they were, but very available, and it does mean you can get these weirdly. Doesn't quite fit in my head, says the man who's happy to see a goblin running around with a chainsaw. So that's a little bit of a mark against them to me. I do think the models are really nice. I don't paint or model, but they looked good. Lots of people were excited about painting them. I think the Dauntless and high armor mechanic is great, but I kind of miss... I mean, this is a long time ago, but in first edition there were Bretonnians, and they had some armoured knights, and then they had peasants. And the peasants had this thing called forelock syndrome, which meant if they wanted to pass the ball or hand it off, they had to roll a d6. And it was probably like a 2+. And if they failed it, they had to throw it or hand it to a knight, because obviously they were peasants. And the knights were slow and strong. And I thought that's kind of a cool design. And I'm still not in my head 100% sure that what we have represents Bretonnians. It represents the sort of the military class of Bretonnia. But... don't the peasants still play football? Shouldn't there be some of them knocking around somewhere? I don't know.
They've changed
they're
to
not peasants
now.
Yeah,
exactly.
now they're squires.
Now.
Yeah, I know. And we got my ball. I don't know. A sort of a my ball thing on the knights would have been fun, I think. But instead, we've been given that to the high elves. We've got Dauntless, but the Grail Knights. I mean, I think they're cool, but people that know their lore tell me they're not cool enough. That Grail Knights should be like a Hulk on the battlefield, and maybe they should have had strength.
Yeah, it should.
Hargrim?
The Grail Knights definitely need some form of change. For starters, steady footing as a rule needs to just be permanently removed. It's silly. It just doesn't feel good to play against. Like, you can just have made your 6+ dodge into a cage, your 2 dice against, double pow, way, I got the ball out, and then your opponent rolls a 6, and all of that was for nothing.
Yeah,
Great.
that's very uncool when they roll a 6 and it's for nothing. I think we can all nod our heads on how uncool that is. On the other hand, if you've just been sacked and you roll a 6 and you're not sacked, isn't that pretty cool?
No. I feel bad every time I pass a steady footing, and I play high elf. I feel bad, because it shouldn't be a rule in the game. The whole point of rolling a 6 on a block dice is that there's supposed to be no counter to it. You're not supposed to have a counter to everything. And it just it sort of pulls down the coolness.
It's not a counter,
Tonya.
it's a sixth of a counter. If I give you a sixth of a cookie, I haven't given you a cookie.
It's still 16.67%.
That is quite
for
a lot.
you to just, all of your work is just in vain.
It's a really uncool moment. I did have a situation though. This is a bit of a Jimmy rolled a 6 story PC,
Okay.
but it was a tripwire in
I'll allow it
game
provisionally.
while I was in Tillian. Just as I was going into the end zone with the Dragon Prince, and I rolled a double 1 as I went in, and I was obviously devastated. And then the steady footing 6 to score win.
How cool is that?
So it was a good moment. It was kind of, and it kind of didn't feel. I didn't feel like I cheated my opponent because the double 1 was so rare. Not that rare, 1 in 36. But you know, like it was a nice moment. I was like, oh, maybe that's how it's supposed to feel. He didn't feel particularly happy about it, if I'm honest. So was it a cool moment? No, it was just a nice moment for me.
Hexbaron,
Blood Bowl
is
is
steady
already...
footing making them cool or uncool?
It's making them uncool. It's going the uncool way, isn't it?
I think generally people don't like the skill. I think it's not gone down well.
I don't care what people think. I want to know what you think. You are our emissary from the youth.
I agree. Having been on the receiving end of an opponent rushing into an end zone, rolling a 1 to draw the game, walking away from the table distraught, only for me to remind them that they had steady footing, and then roll a 6 to draw the game. I mean,
do you more regret reminding them, or that still exists?
I have the moral high ground of reminding my opponent, but I did draw the game because he rolled the 6. So,
do you know the thing about the moral high ground? It's just a couple of steps below the winner's podium, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to actually put them somewhere.
They're not Sub-Zero. I think they're cool because the design philosophy behind the team is great for me.
Let's make a team that isn't very good, and you can put a star with it and maybe do something.
It's more the skills that the players have
Okay.
and what they can do.
Okay.
It's less about the stars, and it's more what the actual the complete team, and not, what star can I take.
Okay,
Rolling 45 Dauntless rolls is uncool though.
It's a lot of dice. That is quite uncool.
I worry that playing the team seems cool until you actually start to play the team and you realise that Nerves of Steel on a 3+ agi no dodge piece is not cool.
That isn't
and
cool.
Dauntless on your pieces that don't have block or any skills is also not cool. And like if they have lots of skills and no star, like they are quite interesting. I've seen some very fun builds. But I think they're the kind of team. Every time I play against them, and then they just don't seem to do anything because they've just got Nerves of Steel on their throwers, and I feel a little bit bad. I'm like, I don't.
Tepid, isn't it? It's tepid.
Yeah, I mean, I think on the plus side, Hargrim is right. There is a team ethos there that I respect.
Yeah.
It may not be the one I was looking for, but there is a cohesion to what they're trying to do.
And the models are lovely.
And the models are lovely. So those are the points in the favour. I think against them is that they're just shit at Blood Bowl. And if we say this is a cool team, are people going to have a cool time playing them? And I suspect they're really not. They're going to have a miserable time. And no one is going to go, oh, it's cool that you've brought them. Unless they're going, ha, it's cool that you brought them. Which isn't the sort of cool we're looking for.
If I sat down in a tournament, I would feel that my opponent was cooler if they were playing Bretonnians than if they were playing Amazons. As long as they didn't bring Skrorg, fine.
I think that's fair. Are we saying this is tepid?
I can concede on putting them in tepid.
Okay, I just worry that if we call them cool and someone plays them, they're going to call us up and say that wasn't cool. I did not have a cool time, and people did not think that was cool. They thought I was.
As
a fool.
Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War, skill issue.
I like that.
But also, if it's a high skill team, I don't think that's particularly cool. Although maybe it can be. Perhaps if there's a unique little niche, perhaps that will be cool. Okay, we're doing a good job. We're getting through them in much less time. We might even get them all done tonight. Let's have a look at something that definitely can't be contentious. Nice and simple. Surely this is headed for the middle of the pack. It's Chaos Chosen. Anyone have a Chaos Chosen? I mean, secretly, I've always thought Chaos Chosen are kind of cool. I know they look very generic. They look unappealing from the outside. I definitely don't think they're Sub-Zero. But here's my bid for them to go into cool, and I'm going to start on this one. I think people play them entirely wrong. I think they have strength 4 blitzing from every player. I think they have AG3 on every player. I think they have good, effective blocking walls that can take damage. I don't think they're a bash team. I think they're a control team. So I think you should be leaning into, I don't think you should ever have a Minotaur. I think if you have to have a big guy now that you don't have to have a Minotaur, it shouldn't be a Minotaur. I think you should be about controlling the space, using that strength 4 blitz from anyone without ever needing an assist to get a 2 die against normal strength 3 teams. I think you should be using your Chaos Warriors as a nice effective barrier. I think armbar on them is funny and not necessarily uncool. It doesn't require any dice rolling. It's just there and occasionally does something. And when it does pop off, you can go, armbar did something. And the entire tournament laughs and claps along with you. I think the models...
is it as good as falling off your chair?
No,
rolling
nothing is as good as falling off your chair. I mean, come on, that's right at the top.
That's happened when armbar procced. There was a player who collapsed in front of me.
That's a valid response. I think that's the right thing to do when you get armbar.
That is awesome. So I think they're kind of cool, despite being very generic. That's my bid. What do you think? Am I talking madness? Breakmonker, let's start with you.
They're so vanilla though. There is no flavor. Vanilla has a flavor. This is flavorless ice cream. This is fat and milk. That's what they are. They've got no chaos god. There's no chaos. There's no.
They can have any god.
There's no. Yeah, but they don't. They could have had them, but they don't. So they went, no, I don't want any of that good lore or any background. I just want to be nothing. And if you want strength 4 across the pitch, the other chaos teams have that. I played Thulian the other day, and he took Khorne, and he played him as a control team, and they're definitely not a control team, but he played him like that, and it was like, it kind of blew my mind actually. So I think you can achieve exactly what you've just said, but pick something slightly more flavoursome.
But not as cool. Hargrim, come on. Well, surely I was persuasive.
I like the idea of playing a control team. The problem for me with Chaos Chosen is 2 things. The first one is that it's not Chaos Chosen. It's Beastmen and Chaos Warriors. It should be Marauders and Chaos Warriors. That's Chaos Chosen. That's Chaos Undivided. And then have a separate Beastman team. Then we can talk about it. And secondly, I think there is some versatility to the team. The problem is that versatility is non-existent in tournament play. Because you're forced to take specific things if you want even a chance at doing mediocre. And that sort of lack of depth to the team in terms of how you build it creates a bit of an issue for me, because I like being able to take something that's off meta and go, ooh, I can tweak this and I can play with this.
In 2 years' time, when I've terrified the entire Blood Bowl world with a break, tackle, wrestle Chaos Warrior, then you'll all realise, you'll all eat your damned words. It's people are building them wrong. They can be much more than they currently are. Hexbaron.
They need a bucket full of skills to be interesting. I think when you've just got a bunch of, I don't know, like they're just strength 3 or 4, and there's no flavor. Like there's no interesting, like, cool. Armbar is cool. I'll give you that. But like Armbar's proccing like once or twice a game. Like it's not.
God, if that, I dream of games where armbar's procced twice.
Exactly. So I think if they have a bucket of skills, then maybe they're a little bit more interesting. But I don't know. In a league, they're just so dull. You just start with nothing, and you just go, these are strength 3, and there's 10 of them. These are strength 4, and there's 4 of them. That's a team. I don't know. I agree with Breakmonker. I think that.
But they can pick the ball up. No Noble Warrior's ever going to pick the ball up.
Now. They are Elon Musk.
Right
down the very bottom.
I wasn't going to go that hard.
They are Elon Musk.
Why? You're going to need some good reasons if you're putting them down there.
Because cool, when you look at something, there's a reason it's got to stand out. There's nothing that stands out about them. Is exactly what Hex just said there. There's no distinguishing feature. They have no Chaos God. They have no lore. They're incorrect in their lore. there are better teams. They've got nothing.
Cool
They
doesn't
they
follow the
are-
rules. Cool does its own thing, like Chaos Undivided or Chosen or whatever we're calling them now.
There is a very simple fix to the Chaos Chosen problem, and it is, like we have the favored of rule for all the different Chaos gods, give them the option of doing that like they have now, but instead of it just being star player access, you give them some form of extra flavor. For example, with Mark of Corn, suddenly in league play they get 3 SPP for a casualty instead of 2. Maybe for tournament play you might look at it and go, oh, well, maybe we can give the Beastmen Frenzy instead of Thick Skull now, and if they are Zinch they get extra arms instead of, like, give them some flavor for being not just Chaos Undivided, because Chaos Undivided is so boring. There's just no flavor to it at
You're
all.
making me sad. Hex, are they really this boring? Am I
The youth have
insane? Should they be
spoken.
down
The
the
youth have
bottom?
spoken.
They have.
I mean, I was.
This is
I
me
was
holding on to roughs
definitely-
100 years after they went out, wasn't it?
Definitely in the uncool
Oh, Jesus.
period section of this tier list, I think, unfortunately. Are they Elon Musk? Like, I don't know. I definitely agree with Breakmonker and Hargrim that they're just kind of boring.
I would probably stick them in uncool.
Yeah,
They're
I
not
think
quite Elon Musk tier.
I do agree though. I do agree with UPC that there is some interesting things you can do with them, and when people pull them out of a tournament, they've got some interesting builds. I think they have some potential. They're moldable into some cool things, and I've played against break, tackle, block, Chaos Chosen warriors that like to cage dive you every turn and stuff, and that's definitely a bit more interesting. So I think maybe that pulls them out of Elon Musk, but I'm not sure I can think they're higher than uncool.
When Ebenezer Good wore a top hat in the video to Easer Good, top hats were briefly cool, and I think Chaos will get their day. I am prepared to put Chaos, because you're all wrong, but you all agree. I'm prepared to put them as far down as uncool. I don't think they are as uncool as a man that makes Nazi salutes at rallies and that funds alternative for Deutschland. I don't think they're quite that uncool, because I do think they have potential to be cool one day. But it's going to take someone incredibly cool to do something fun with them, like Break, Tackle, Wrestle, Chaos Warrior, which I think will terrify Blood Bowl one day when I get round to it. But until then, I maybe I'm just old and wrong, but apparently they are uncool.
You are. I feel like you're slightly inspiring me to go and write a Chaos Chosen list with some interesting stacks, though.
I think if they can get 2 stacks, the problem is people are going to put block guard on a Chaos Warrior and 2 heads block or 2 heads sure hands on a Beastman. That's the problem.
Well, I think Davo
Is
took
that people do
block
unfun
mighty
things.
blow, right? He took block
Yeah.
mighty blow on two Chosen. It's just like,
Yeah, but
that's-
Davo's a banger.
He isn't unbangy. That is fair.
I think if there's any build out there that you should look at for Chaos Chosen, you should look at Hovering's build for Chaos Chosen, because he plays them in a very control-y manner, but he has that block, break, tackle as a utility piece for when he needs it. He doesn't take the Minotaur, he takes the Ogre, because it's the most reliable of the 3. It doesn't need to be blitzing every turn, and it doesn't need babysitting.
Yep.
And then he just plays wall. Good luck getting through.
And without wrestle, with break tackle on a Chaos Warrior, remember that's AG3, but with strength 4, it's AG1 when it dodges once a turn. So even into a standard 5-point cage, it does it on a 4+. Now, if you're prepared to throw a reroll like that, that's 75% into the cage hitting their ball carrier with something that's strength 4. So I'm just saying there are, and let alone what you can do with 2 heads beasts. You can even have a 2 heads break tackle Chaos Warrior. There are things out there doable with this team that we are not doing, and it terrifies me that we look beyond them, because they never quite get the tiering where you think, oh, I could really surprise everyone here with
Maybe next week we'll change our minds when we've all gone away and played some crazy Chaos Chosen rosters.
I think it is within them to happen, and I think it would be cool, but it's not happening, and I guess that makes them uncool. So at the moment, we don't have anything Sub-Zero, and we don't have anything as uncool as Elon Musk. That's a bit frightening. Are we all just being a bit safe? Let's see what pops up next and see what we can make of it. Next off the production line is Chaos Dwarves. Now,
So I actually think that Chaos Dwarves are very cool.
It's the hats,
really
isn't it?
like Chaos
It's the
Dwarves.
hats.
The hats
Obviously,
are
it's the
amazing.
hats.
The hats are awesome. The models are awesome, but So I had a great time painting the models. I think they're really cool. I think they look awesome. And then I played one single practice game of Chaos Dwarves, and I thought, I can do all kinds of things. I can stab, I can breathe fire. I've got movement 9, strength 4 pieces. I've got everything. I had all the toys. I had all the interesting positionals. They were not good. Like, they weren't Amazons boring. Like, they were not great, but they had everything. I was like, this is like a puzzle. I just love this. Yeah.
Okay. Counterpoint to all this chorf love.
Yeah.
Under Blood Bowl 2, they were the what I would call the herp derp team of choice. People just put Claw and Mighty Blow on them and hurt things and giggled while they did it.
Yep.
They were unloved and unlovable and unlovely. You say they can stab things, yes, but their stabbers are terrible and way overpriced still.
But I think that's cool.
You say they can breathe flame. They can, but breathing flame is terrible and almost never works. When it does, you're surprised. You're like, oh, blimey, that's done something useful for you, rather than ruined your entire game, which is what I expected it to do.
Blodge Ball carrier sacked with breathing fire several times. So.
They have Ironhard skinned dwarves, but in my opinion and in my experience, they just disappear as if it isn't there. You lose one every drive. And, I mean, I know it's still 1 in 6 to break it, and it can't be adjusted, but it feels like it's more like a 1 in 3. It's almost like the tripwire to me. Every time I've tried with it, I lose one. And the bulls are great, but until they've got break tackle and ideally a second skill, they're complete liabilities as well. So they've got loads of lovely parts, but all of those parts are crap. It's like a Reliant Robin.
Cool isn't good or bad, right?
It isn't. That's true.
Cool is cool. And I think Hex is onto something, especially with the hats. I think the only thing that goes against them, definitely the Crucifer Claw Mighty Blow thing. That was a thing of the past. But the name, the fact people call them chorfs.
Oh, okay.
I think that's
Old man rants at clouds moment. Off you go.
It's not very cool, is it? Like, what's a chorf? I mean, it's awful, isn't it?
I mean,
it's just a
yes,
name.
It is awful to call them chores. I will say I agree with Hexbaron, though. I think the design behind the team is absolutely phenomenal. Because if we go back and look at Warhammer Fantasy lore, Chaos Dwarves, as they use more magic, they petrify. Which is why the Chaos Dwarf blockers have Ironhard skin, which is great.
The ones that breathe fire don't.
No, which is super weird. But, they should have just given all of the dwarves, not the bull centaurs, Ironhard skin.
And the ones that have mutated into a bull centaur dwarf hybrid creature due to weird magic they shouldn't have messed with, their skin is like that of a newborn baby.
Yeah. I mean, there's
every other player.
I will say I like the versatility of the team. Like, you can do all sorts of weird stuff. You can do all sorts of interesting things, like breathe fire, like stab. You can play the blocking game. You can play the positional game with, like, blitzing around the edges with the bull centaurs. I think they probably, for me, the first Sub-Zero.
Ooh.
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, even though I brought up the name thing, I'm kind of in agreement with it. They were my first Sub-Zero team.
Well, some people may have noticed that still my Chaos Dwarf team is the banner I use for my stream when I'm not streaming. I used to love Chaos Dwarves. Before I got into Dark Elves, before I got into Dwarves, the first team I was heavily known with on Blood Bowl, on Fumble, was my Chaos Dwarf play. I abandoned them when they lost the Troll, which used to be an option instead of a Minotaur, and then gained mutations, because what had been a beautiful team of limited pieces that had to be used in an exact way to actually get anything out of them disappeared, and they became just a giggle and hurt things team with only one playstyle. And I really resented what I felt we lost something like Necromantic that had a really specific tools for jobs and turned them into something very generic. I think the new Chaos Dwarf design is very bad at Blood Bowl. I really do. They don't have pace. When you look at them, you try and build a roster, you're like, there's nowhere I can even put leader. There's nowhere I can even put sure hands that feels reasonable. How am I going to build this? I don't like the hats. When I had my beautiful Chaos Dwarf team made, I had them sculpted without hats. And those that had the big hats, I had them removed. I think they look ridiculous, and I don't like them. But I accept that I'm in a minority of roughly one human in thinking that.
Whoa.
I won't have this hat slander.
Yeah, and you were just talking about top hats being cool, like
Briefly, only when
minus 5 minutes ago.
only when the Ebenezer Good video came out. Yes, I don't like the hats. I do like the beards, but I have a big problem there too. Way too many people either paint or model the beards to look like a piece of armour. Now, even if they're neatly crimped, they should still look like neatly crimped. They should still look like hair. I don't care how much lacquer you've put on it. It's a beard. It's not a piece of armour. And I think people get that wrong, and I think the hats are stupid, and they belittle what is a very proud, noble people. But I accept they're in a minority. They're terrible at Blood Bowl, and it's really hard to build a roster you take anywhere that you think, oh, that's going to do well. Because it's not going to do well. It's going to be terrible, and you're going to have a terrible time.
Basically, you have to be better than your opponent.
And the solution to that, I think, is to not take the Minotaur. I think they're much more interested without a Minotaur.
I mean, this brings me back to the fact that when they lost the Troll, I found that really useful as another tool in their very limited tool set. And lots of teams can now choose between big guys, but Chaos Dwarves can't. They can still only take the Minotaur.
And you got 2 Bull Centaurs, that's fine.
You almost always want to blitz with a Bull Centaur. So if a tournament builds, you're often just not taking the big guy, which means you're really limited. However, like I said, I've loved them my whole life. I think they're really interesting. And I think they absolutely are Sub-Zero right now. I think anytime you're looking at or facing Chaos Dwarves, you think, that's cool. It might be that they're not very good at Blood Bowl. And we did say that was a problem with other cool teams. So if you're thinking, oh, that's cool, and they say it's cool, I'm going to coach them. I do think they're an advanced build. I think you need to understand how those pieces work. You need to understand how fragile your Hobgoblins are, how terrible the Minotaur is, how useful but isolatable the Bulls are, and not trust Iron Hard Skin to keep them in the game, and not actually believe in your heart that Flame Breath will ever actually do anything useful, but expect it to cost you the game, and then be beautifully surprised when it does work. But I am actively looking for a tournament where I can take Chaos Dwarves again, because I think they're cool. And they survive Mike the Rake coaching them, who I love, but, lovely, lovely guy. Not cool. Sorry, Mike.
Despite him coaching them, we still think they're cool.
Yeah, I think that is in the negative category ever so slightly. But he's very good with them, and he is a lovely guy, but he's not cool. He has good hair, but he's not cool. So that is our first Sub-Zero. There you are. If that's what you're waiting for, you can now go about the rest of your daily life. Chaos Dwarves officially declared both by the old and the young to be Sub-Zero. But we're not done yet. Oh no, there are loads more to go. And what could be cooler, if you're Irish, than Chaos Renegades? Everyone was distressed at the latest Home Nations when the Irish all fought over who could take Chaos Renegades. They could not agree. They could not all be friends. So they decided the only thing they could do was no one to bring Chaos Renegades, which just meant we had 8 incredibly sad Irish people. So as we know,
they didn't bring Stigerai, the Renegades one trick.
So we do know that the Irish love their Chaos Renegades, but should we? They've got all sorts of bits and bobs. Surely that makes them cool. Are they cool, Hexbaron?
I think they're cool. I think that a bit like Chorfs, they're not super strong and are gonna just roll over every opponent, but they have all of the tools. You can have an interesting mix of big guys. They are a bit unreliable.
Any 3 from 4 now, isn't it?
Any 3 from 4, yeah. You've got a move 7 piece. You've got an Agi 2+ piece. You've got a Goblin you can throw around. The throwers got way better. I think they're also cooler than they were in the last edition. I think in the last edition, the safe pair of hands thrower who was terrible at throwing and picking up the ball was a bit of a problem. I think they're cooler now than they were before as well.
Is that because they actually now have a reason to have a thrower rather than just letting the elf do it all?
Yeah, and other than it's no longer just a leader carry. Like you can actually have a thrower, and it's reasonable.
I'm with you there. I think they're Sub-Zero. This is my shout on this. Like when I think about Chaos Renegades and I kind of abstract it in my mind, I think like one of my favorite bands, Rage Against the Machine. They come to my mind.
They're very cool. That's a cool band.
I think heavy metal comes to my mind. I think
heavy metal not cool.
Well, anyway, I think it's cool. I think like a unity of evil beings all kind of coming together to play.
No, sorry. Before we move on, heavy metal is a phase that it's fine between about 13 and 16, and then you should just like hard rock. It's
Slander.
Grow out.
Slander.
Of it. Grow out of it. Come on.
Right. I mean, we could do a podcast on that, but
like far too sugary drinks.
Kind of not but I get your point. And angry minotaurs as well. So I think when you put those factors together, you get, plus the stuff that Hex said there, you get a very, very Sub-Zero team.
Sub-Zero, yeah. I mean, surely we can avoid the minotaur problem by just having a rat ogre and a troll and an ogre. So
Wrong. You take the minotaur and the rat ogre for maximum frenzy. And
Maximum
then obviously the Irish are geniuses when it comes to renegades, and they built a roster that included Grashnak and Scylla and Fingrim.
yeah,
I mean,
why not
it
have
does
two
not
stars
get more Sub-Zero than that.
Why not have 2 stars that also have nega traits?
And are also terrible.
Also terrible, yes. So 5 terrible big guys that you're relying on to somehow win a Blood Bowl game and keep 1 elf safe.
It's
That
hilarious.
does sound kind of cool, to be honest. That does sound a bit Assault on Precinct 13 level cool to me.
I don't think I've ever faced a Chaos Renegade coach and gone, "Oh, that was boring." Even all of the 2+ activations make them quite interesting. Like at any moment,
they're
go
definitely
wrong.
not uncool. Don't get me wrong. This is a team that is tepid or higher, but Sub-Zero really, for a team that is literally the bits are left over from 2 other sprues and 1 from here and 1 from there. It's nonsense, isn't it? And it's literally all about protect the elf, and nothing else really matters.
I wouldn't say so. I'd say Renegades is a team that really, really not only challenges you in terms of how you read the board, but also how you structure your turns, because of the fact that you have 3 quite critical players that need to roll dice just to do stuff. I find it so fascinating, the people that are actually good at Renegades and how they manage their turn structure, how they manage their positioning, all of this. I find it so fascinating that people can do it. It's the same I have with people who play certain stunties, except Snotlings.
I mean, I have to say, Hargrim, I've long assumed you just have that with people that play successful Blood Bowl.
Well, not necessarily, because a lot of people can play teams very, very well, and it's just, well, yeah, but it's another Amazon coach.
Okay,
Like,
so
how much more are we gonna wring out of that towel?
there is the problem, isn't there, that when you face Renegades, yes, it's never dull. Yes, they have to roll lots of dice just to do things, and that's kind of cool. But aren't they just going to try and bash you off the pitch? And isn't that a little bit uncool?
I mean, that's not the only play, is it? There is some manoeuvring and some management, like Hargrim was saying. I don't think it's the only strategy. I also think when you don't remove anyone with Renegades and you're still trying to win, that can make a really fun, interesting mental challenge, which is interesting for both players. And I think that's cool in itself as well. I don't think it's the only strategy. I think frenzy can often be the only strategy, as Hargrim was alluding to a little bit there.
I mean, I do think one of the things that's
I
cool
agree.
about them is they do alter how you think about turn ordering, because with 3 big guys to activate, yes, there's going to be times you want to activate one first. Does that move? Is the blitz coming off one of them? Is it vital? What happens if it doesn't work? There's quite a lot of different thought processes in coaching Renegades than most other teams, because just of that amount of fail and how open it might leave you. So I guess that's kind of cool. That's an interesting, different challenge, which is cool.
I think so.
But I mean, I just comparatively, because I do need help on where under the cool side they're going to go. Are they as cool as Chaos Dwarves? I mean, is there a cohesion to a theme to the team? They're just bits. Aren't they just bits from other sets put together? Have you ever seen
don't
like
think they're
someone
quite-
actually done a proper Renegades team that you've looked at and gone, "Wow, that looks great"?
They're not quite Sub-Zero. I think they're just on the cusp of being it, so I would put them in the cool sector.
I could see them being moved if we change our minds later. If we put them in cool and maybe we decide later they're cooler than the other cool teams or something else.
I mean, I think they're about as cool as Black Orcs. I have to say, I think that's not a bad comparison.
Yeah, that makes quite a lot of sense. They are there's a level there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a style to them. There's one thing that they do, and they do it quite well, and that's quite cool. But they're maybe not overarchingly cool. And I do think they lack a team that I look at and go, "That's a really cool team. I wish someone would paint one of those for me." And if
They
anyone
don't
does
have
wish to paint a team for me, then do feel free to offer that. That's always gratefully received. Okay, they're cool. Chaos Renegades are cool, as in general are the Irish, so that's not a great surprise to me. Well, I mean, this is very easy. So this is just very simple. I'm going to put Dark Elves in Sub-Zero, and all three of you are going to say yes, I imagine. They're obviously cool because they're
disagree.
the race I play the most. They've recently had an update, which makes them a bit less uncool, in that they've now got assassins you have to use. They're very cool. They have hit and run, which is nowhere near as top.
Assassins are so cool.
They are.
I think they got cooler. Yeah.
They definitely got cooler with the addition of assassins. Hit and run's quite a cool skill. It's a bit OP, but it's not as stupid as Argue the POW or Team Captain or all the other nonsense that's going on in Blood Bowl at the moment that we have to try and keep track of and remind other people to do so that they can beat us with a deeply unfair 1 in 6 roll. I think they've got cooler.
Yeah,
I would agree.
But they were
a bit
really
bland in the
bloody
last
uncool,
edition.
weren't they, in the last edition?
Yeah, they were really, really bland because there was basically one way of playing it, one way of building the roster, and if you didn't do it, it was suboptimal, and if it was suboptimal, it's just like you're not going to be able to do.
I mean, I've always loved them, and I've always think witches are quite cool. But I think if this was season 2, I would have let you put them in Elon Musk ultimately, because I did feel they were very uncool in season 2. So the question in my head is, how high have they risen in season 3? Hex.
Well, they have punt.
They do have punt. Punt is
and
very
I
cool.
think that makes them cool, and I think that they've gone from having a bunch of blodgers and a witch elf to having interesting things with stab, hit and run, and they've got frenzy, stab, hit and run. They've got punt. What's not to love about punt? Like I think they're pretty cool. I think they've got cooler. Are they Sub-Zero? I'm happy if people think they're Sub-Zero or cool. I don't mind, but I think they're up there. I think also...
And you accept they're coming from a very low start in the prior season.
It's true. But
I think the sweatiness was removed, right? Because the dodge blodge kind of cloud is all kind of gone now, right? And now you've got some interesting players with some interesting skills, and it's not solved as well.
I think they're the coolest of the elf teams. All the people who want to play.
Really? We've got 3 other elf teams to go, and you're going balls out saying this is the coolest one.
I think so, in my opinion. If I'm playing any elf coach and then they sit down with Dark Elves, I think that's the coolest one, personally. Yeah,
but,
I think they.
But Elven Union exists.
Yep. I think
wow, Hargrim.
Dark Elves changed enough to be interesting now. They have different tools. They have different styles that they can adapt to the board state and the game state. I think they're really, really cool now because you're no longer locked into this one hyper-specific way of controlling the game. You have options. You have different things you can do. You can play the game differently. And I think that's really, really cool. I would definitely say, and that is also because Drow elves are my favorite elves in any fantasy setting, they should be Sub-Zero.
As I said, they're a 4-year-old girl's choice of elf now.
That's a critical factor.
Isn't it?
And they were edgy like 15 years ago, as we
edgy
pointed out.
Cool
right?
or edgy uncool?
You can't be edgy for 15 years.
No, you can't.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, I've done it for 30, but it's very, very rare.
I mean, it knocks them just off of Sub-Zero.
I've seen them on a primary school kid's backpack for lunch. That you can't be cool and be on a backpack.
I think they're at least cooler. I think all the other factors, maybe not Sub-Zero then, but they're at least cool. They've got to be cool.
Hargrim,
minimum.
Are they cool?
They're cool.
Okay.
I will say they're cool.
Well, look, you know in my heart that I love the Dark Elves. I love them with a great passion. I enjoy playing them. I'm occasionally okay with them. They were Elon Musk level uncool. I do accept that. Despite Witch Elves, which will always be cool, they had 4 blitzers, which I never felt they needed. They had assassins, which you couldn't justify using, and the runners were a bit dull. The runners have got punt. Punt's hilarious. It's terrible, but it's hilarious. It has occasional uses, but it's terrible and hilarious. It's one of those skills that you should remember you have and then hope you never have to use. But if you do, it might just help once, occasionally. Don't use it. It's not advice. The assassins are now good and interesting. The blodge blitzers, you now only get 2, so if you lose one, it's hellish. The witches. I always had 2 wrestle witches, but yeah, now people always have the witches, which is good. So I do agree they've risen. They're certainly not uncool anymore. I can't with a good conscience put them Sub-Zero. I just can't. I just think anything that a 4-year-old can have on their lunchbox just can't be that cool. Even Deadpool, the fact that he's on kids' lunchboxes, I think drops him off as Sub-Zero for me. And I think it does the same for Dark Elves. So I'm prepared to listen when we talk about the other elves, some of which I think might end up Sub-Zero as to whether we're wrong. But for now, that is where they are going to go, because we do need to move on. We have got, what have we got? We've got 7 done. So we're about halfway to where I wanted to get to tonight. So that's pretty good. We're about on pace. Now, this one could be difficult, because this one is just, it's not that they're cool or uncool. They're sad. And I'm not sure sad is cool.
Yeah.
I mean, with the exception of sad Keanu Reeves. Now, so maybe I'm wrong and sad can be cool. But dwarves. I mean, bless
They're
them.
not sad in an edgy way like Dark Elves are. They're
No.
sad in a sad way.
They're just,
Yeah.
oh, you poor thing.
Yeah.
And I think they got sadder. I think with the new
Yeah.
rules. Yeah. Are they Elon Musk?
Yeah,
don't
I
know,
mean,
but maybe.
the
They
problem
still
here
suffer
is
from the same issues that they always have, except now those issues got worse.
they don't,
Yeah.
because people don't moan about them. And that was the biggest issue they had, was everyone fucking moaning about them all the time.
It's almost
mean-
as if the dwarf hate sort of died down.
Yeah, because they're crap. Look, this is very hard for me to be objective. I famously loved dwarves. Coached a lot of dwarves. Was quite good with dwarves. I haven't touched them in season 3. I'm not tempted, and it makes me sad when I look at them and their roster. I have coached some Old World Alliance, and even the dwarves on there make me a bit sad. Putting defensive on them, but meaning they can't gain strength access on the Limebeards, taking tackle off them. I don't mind the tackle moving to the blitzers. I had advocated that for years to just mainly shut people up. And I didn't think it would hurt their win rate that much. Taking strength access off the beards, though, just hobbles them. Dropping that blitz at AG to 4 means that you've got a really interesting piece, because they've also got, obviously, diving tackle as well as tackle. They are lethal, but they're very, very holdable in place. If you've got anything you don't mind them being on, then you just pop it on them, and they're 50% to dodge off, which is terrible. The runners, in league play, everyone's giving them plus move because they now start with sprint. So now dwarves are building 1-turners regularly, which is deeply uncool. And it just makes me sad when I look at them. So to me, I'm afraid they're Elon Musk right now. So does anyone have
I
a good
agree.
argument as to why I'm wrong?
I'm with you. I mean, in the hobby, we already sit around hot, sweaty scout huts with short, bearded, bald men. We kind of already do that, and then there's no need to live that role play through the models that we play as well. So it just kind of, I think they just need to be Elon Musk, don't they? They just need to live down there.
Yeah, there's no easy way about it. It's a bit sad that we have to put dwarves down there, but then again, dwarves are a sad team, so it makes sense.
Someone's going to be at the bottom.
Yeah.
In Elon Musk tier.
Unfortunately, it's just the dwarves that it has to happen to.
It's not even close, is it? I mean, usually if a team gets nerfed that hard and goes from being widely hated to just disappearing, usually you can find something in there that makes you think, okay, but they're at least a bit cooler now. I don't think
Is
they're
the
even
Death
cooler
Roller
than
cool?
they were.
Is a Death Roller cool?
To me, the death roller was always weird because, like, we here in Denmark we call it a lawnmower. It's just the lawnmower. That's
And they had
just
a cute little lawnmower model, a little ride-on thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did look like a lawnmower.
The model of the Death Roller is quite cool. I'm definitely going to go out and say that. But
I mean, I
Is
don't
a
think
Death
the death
Roller
roller
enough to
is
keep
any
them out
saving
of-
grace.
I
It's
just
not
don't
a
think it's
saving
enough.
grace.
I don't think whenever someone pulls out a Death Roller, I think, oh, that's really cool. I think, oh, I don't want to be Death Rollered. Like,
Yeah.
Like-
At
And
least
also
it
they
doesn't
had
have
that-
Dirty Player +2 anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had that
Yeah.
spat with like that whole build around it, and it's just marred the whole
Yeah,
thing.
they were deeply uncool when they did Dirty Player +2, and when you could put Sneaky Git on them in most tournaments, they won lots of things with that, and it was horrific. I think they're cool again now that they don't have Dirty Player +2, the Death Roller. But when my kids were very young, I'm very proud of the fact that I taught them how to swim by taking them swimming every weekend to a swimming teacher, because I'm not an idiot. But until they were about 4, I was in the water with them, and I thought, this is lovely. And it was a lovely bonding experience, and I taught them how to swim. And I'm reminded when I think of that the Death Roller is cool and dwarves of you know those woggles they're called, or noodles sometimes that little kids used to float on. And I think what we're doing with the Death Roller is trying to give a noodle to a man who has a Sherman tank tied to his legs and has been thrown in the river. I just don't see how it can keep him afloat. Dwarves are Elon Musk right now.
It's just the sad reality of things.
It's the absolute truth. It's not because they're toxic anymore. It's not because they're destroying people's fun. It's because they're just completely awful and they're sad to look at. And even when people are giving them huge packages, you still build them and you think, yeah, but that's still just going to be awful. They're Elon Musk. So we now have someone at each end of our list. We have populated the tier list. It took us a grand total of 8 teams to do it. But yes, we are now everywhere. We have a full range. And then we can start seeing what fits in with what. So moving on from the sadness that is dwarves, we can all cheer up. Because now we get to talk about Elven Union. Surely the coolest of all elves.
Well, we can discuss how Hex is totally wrong about the coolest elf team.
I know. So, let's start. This is Elven Union.
You're all going to tell me that they're really cool.
They're the coolest. They're the height of cool. They're the height of cool. They've got harlequins. They've got masks. They've got bright colours.
Harlequins are inherently cool. This is a fact.
Yeah, they look good. They're elegant.
One word.
They do.
Fumblebrewski.
Yeah.
Let's ignore that for a moment because they don't really have that. We're gonna just expunge.
No, we're definitely coming back to that, but we're not going to focus on it right now.
Yes. Okay, but they've got that theme as well of that they're the misfits from all the different elf teams, but they still want to play Blood Bowl, right? So they've been outcast. They still want to play Blood Bowl, and they look cool while they do it, and they're great at passing and throwing. I mean, like, you know, they're catching. They score. They're brilliant. They're Sub-Zero.
And just like Andy Burnham doesn't and Angela Rayner did, a good backstory, I feel, is really important. And the fact that Games Workshop tries to kill pro elves by turning them into wood elves and high elves and dark elves, and we all just went, no, we still want to play them. And hence they still exist and have always been rubbish. I just think that adds to their coolness and their mystique. In Season 2, they were definitely Sub-Zero. But things have changed. You know, that was the then, this is the now. So in the age of vertical content on your phones, of twin screen watching of things, when Donald Trump and Gianni Infantino decide whether a red card was real or not, are pro elves still cool? They've been given Fumblebrewski.
So I think the cool thing about them is the blitzers. I think those blitzers are cool.
They are.
They've got sidestep. They've got block. They're pretty cool. I think that they've lost half their catchers, and I don't think the catchers are even that cool. They're move 8, but so are human catchers. Human catchers start with dodge now.
Well, have done for a number of years, but yeah.
But notably less agility, but sure.
Yeah, the throwers, yeah. The throwers, cool, but you get one of them. And passing is passing cool in Blood Bowl? If passing was cool,
it's cool again.
We'd see more passing if it was cool.
Without wildly stupid throwing, it's certainly less uncool.
I would say that the passing rules going back to what they used to be is definitely a step in the right direction to make passing cool again. Because
Agreed.
The whole confusion of, well, a natural one is a fumble, but a modified one is a wildly inaccurate. So now you have to see, well, oops, I accidentally threw it 6 squares back. How the hell did that happen? Oh, well.
But BB Jock has raised a very valid point, and I did skip over because I didn't know if he was here, that in Dark Elves, one of the things keeping them from being obviously top tier, but giving them just a couple of points of coolness in maybe other people's eyes, is how much the changes to them upset BB Jock. He still is properly sad about Dark Elves, and that does add a couple of cool points to me. Love him as I do, someone that notable a Dark Elf player suddenly going, they're terrible, and the toy's fully out of the pram. That did add a bit of cool to them for me. But he has made a very good point here in counterance to that, which is that Union throwers, they're not cool.
Yeah, they've lost a little bit. But this is, we're not talking about good. We're not talking about good skills.
No, we're not.
That doesn't make a cool team. they are the build of them, the theme of them, the models of them. Those are
The
super
models
cool.
are lovely.
I agree with that.
You can't
100%.
get away with that. When you sit down against an Elven Union coach and it's like, oh, look at them,
Yeah.
and you know you're gonna have a good game because all that sidestep and the fact that they can explode at any point as well. That makes for a great game.
Yeah,
I think
great
the
models,
whole-
great theme, great backstory. Like I said, I do love a bit of a story behind something, and the fact that Games Workshop couldn't kill them, we loved them so much. And they are completely rubbish. Let's not mince around the bush here. A move 6 with no armor, they're just going to get smushed. And yet somehow people that really know how to use them can use them to get some good results. So I don't think they're not a shit Blood Bowl team. In fact, in some rule sets like the Euro Bowl, I think they're pretty much one of the best 4. So they can be built in interesting ways. I was very down on Fumble Rooski until I saw Rick Reckless, and it's always a good job to mention Rick Reckless because I can put him, like I always try and mention Andy Davo, I can then, with all good conscience, I can put them as tags on the YouTube video, and it helps people find the content because I'm that desperate. And if you are out there, even if you're not from Vietnam or Namibia, do smash the like button, or just say how nice Hexbaron's top is, or that you like my cap, or that you hate the show. It really doesn't matter. YouTube doesn't give a shit. Just interact with the YouTube in some way, and I would deeply, deeply appreciate it. So, back to the matter at hand. Elven Union. They can't be uncool. Christopher B., who's in chat, thinks they're uncool, and he's just wrong. Some people are. So
It's okay. He's Swedish. He can't help it.
yeah, okay, a deeply uncool place, except it has fumble. So again, even there, you can just never be sure, can you? All the reasons of Scandinavia I find quite cool. It's a very cool country. So, how high are we going with Elven Union? I mean, Fumble Rooski, I was watching Rick Reckless, and he had a turn where he Fumble Rooskied twice, otherwise he wouldn't have been in range to score. And I just thought, well remembered, and he admitted it's the first time he'd remembered them in about 15 games of coaching them. And then a couple of times he hadn't remembered when he could have done a similar thing and it would have been really useful. So I do think Fumble Rooski is kind of fun. They're on a commercial break. Okay, well then people will have to catch up. I don't give a shit. I do think Fumble Rooski is kind of fun and situational. When they first dropped it on them, I thought, okay, well now they're a dead team. And then when they released High Elves and the linemen were the same price but with better armour, you just thought, you don't want to ever sell this team again, do you? But I kind of think
that is a bit of a kick in the teeth, isn't it?
That was yeah.
Here, have a better player, the same price. Do you want that one?
There's a lovely guy called Jerian on Fumble, who designs all the Secret League teams, and they're considering he's made like 800 of them. They're reasonably balanced. Word of warning, they are not balanced, and he doesn't pretend they are. But he hasn't done that bad a job. And he has formulas as to how things should be balanced and what should cost what. And then when you show him 2 players with such a massive difference at exactly the same price, it makes him somewhat frustrated. And I think we can all understand that. But that doesn't stop them being cool that they're overpriced, does it? Doesn't it kind of make them cool? I mean, most cool things are overpriced.
I don't think it makes them Sub-Zero cool. But
doesn't it? I mean, a shit team that you have to do all sorts of crazy, mad, insane things to win with, that you can catch in a tackle zone and go, ha, your 4 people marking me mean nothing. Isn't that cool?
So my teammate for the European, Juju, is a Elven Union one trick. Not one. He plays a lot of Elven Union, and there was a game, Home Nations, where exactly that happened. He made a handoff to a catcher. His opponent went, oh, it's a 5+, and he went, it's a 2+, and his opponent went, no, you're in 3 tackle zones, and he went, I've got Nerve of Steel. That was pretty cool.
That is cool.
That was pretty cool.
Cool story. Now, see, you mentioned Rick Reckless, and the man himself appears. If we mention him 3 times, he turns up behind you in a scary way, so don't do that. I mean, I definitely think they've got to be either cool or Sub-Zero. Breakmonker, which do you think?
Well, I've already done with my opening gambit with the Sub-Zero. I'm sticking with it. I think there's some good points there. The Fumble Rooski is ridiculous, but an end-to-end play with Fumble Rooski, a handoff, a pass, another Fumble Rooski, and a score. That's
That's cool.
That's pretty cool, actually.
That is pretty cool.
Even though it's ridiculous, and I don't want to pay whatever the extra cost is, because it was, 60 to 65 or something like that. I don't want to pay 5k for that. Yeah, leave that in the bin, thank you. But now I've got it, that's cool that I can do that. So, yeah, they're Sub-Zero.
Hargrim, are they Sub-Zero?
I'm very much on the fence. I think they're either Sub-Zero or they're cool. And I think there's some drawbacks to both sides in that, yes, the design behind the models and the theme and the story behind it is absolutely phenomenal. The problem is the actual game design perspective of the team. I find them very uninteresting. There's just nothing that screams this is a unique elf team other than the nerves of steel.
Okay, I find that opinion very uninteresting. Hexbaron, are they Sub-Zero?
I think they're cool. I staked my claim at the beginning. I said that Dark Elves are the coolest elves.
Yes, but we all knew you were wrong. So
I don't think they can be higher. I think that the Blitzers are cool, but I think that the linemen are not cool. Fumblerooski, fine. I think the linemen are not cool. The design is great, but like the models great. But I think cool is enough for me.
So we have two saying cool and two saying Sub-Zero.
They're not on a lunchbox. They're not on a child's lunchbox.
No, they're not.
They're not. Yeah, they're unique in that respect. They're off the lunchbox, which means they must be better.
Ah, you see, there's a clever man. He's spotted that using my own arguments against me and making me sound wise is a good way to impress me. He's also spotted that it's 2 versus 2, and I did promise pre-show that if it was 2 versus 2, I get the deciding vote. The absolute nail in the coffin is BB Nut telling me that they can't be Sub-Zero. And telling other people what to do just isn't cool, man.
Agreed.
That's only something that an uncool person would do. So if you'd come in a more cool way, I might have listened. But because you've said that, and I'm cool, I'm not going to listen to you because you don't get to tell me what to do. So they're going in Sub-Zero. They are cooler than Dark Elves. It turns out, as we all knew, Hexbaron, young man that he is, entirely wrong about some things in life. He'll learn. He will get stronger. Okay. We need to crack on. We have done so many, and yet there are so many left. We've reached 9. I want to try and get 6 more done tonight because that would leave us just over half for the next time. Except Slam, we can just put those in the bin. We won't bother with those, obviously. Do we want to keep going alphabetically, or should, as we are flagging a bit, we've done nearly an hour and a half. Let's have we'll have a choice each. Hargrim, name me a race.
Snotlings.
Snotlings. Let's pull up the Snotlings. And obviously, Snotlings are incredibly cool. So let's just provisionally for now.
Snotlings are anti-fun, anti-Blood Bowl. They're the fascists of Blood Bowl. They need to be binned. Get rid of it. Everyone is miserable involved when they're playing with Snotlings or against Snotlings. Just get rid of them, please, for the love of all that is holy.
I don't think I've ever seen anyone having fun playing with or against Snotlings. Like they look like, in theory they're cool, and they have some fun, like, quirky pump wagons and stuff.
They've got pump wagons. Little tiny things with swinging balls on the back and lots of Snotlings hanging off them.
Their main mechanic is let's have a 17-minute turn while I go, I've got to dodge here, and I've got to dodge here, and I've got to dodge here, and I've got to dodge here. And it's just epically boring.
The concept of 14 players on the pitch driving pump wagons is about the closest we can get, but
you like blow on them hard and they explode in red mist. How's that not cool?
It's the fascism.
It's actually when they don't. When they don't, that's so annoying.
It is very annoying when they don't explode. I'm not recommending anyone goes around and blows Snotlings. And if you do, anything that happens to you legally is entirely your own recourse. I did not give that advice.
Well, I mean, they are a mushroom. So. Yeah,
I know, law. I mean, law. Yes, they grow like a fungus. Are they a plague upon Blood Bowl, though?
Yes.
Breakmonker, tell me your experiences with Snotlings. Surely you've had some fun against someone who's really interested in the Snotling roster they've built to surprise you with.
I've never enjoyed a game against Snotlings. Not a single one. I've had some tactical matches, which it's like you've got to be thinking, but they're never enjoyable. It's the amount of dice rolls. It's the constant, like, oh, here's a stupid and here's a dodge, and it's uncool. It's levels of uncool, actually. It's almost down to Elon Musk, but I would go in the uncool categories. Like, oh, do I have to play this person?
Okay, so what in your head saves them just above being deeply, deeply fascist funding and Nazi saluting me level uncool.
I think there's some interest tactically with them. You can do like positioning's interesting. They can do some wild things and fun things. The pump wagon save them a little bit because that is a bit wild and a bit fun.
Yeah,
But,
a brake tack
yeah,
and pump wagon, or a pump wagon with pile driver. When else are you ever going to see pile driver?
Yeah, that kind of saves them a little bit. So they're not the bottom tier, but they are not. You're not going to go woohoo game against Snotlings. It's just it's a no.
I once took a Snotling roster to Bromley.
Did you have fun?
Not really.
Did you feel
no.
cool? Did you turn up and go like, I'm gonna be the cool guy in this tournament?
I mean, I said it was a Snotling roster. It was a Ripper and Skitter. No, it was worse. It was Morgan Skitter in season 2.
You utter filth. You utter filth. You should be ashamed of yourself.
I had no rerolls because neither of them can use rerolls, so I didn't need any. So instead, I bought Bribe.
You mean, yeah.
And then I had one skill over, so I had a sneaky git Snotling.
Morgan Skitter with some accompanying pieces.
And I didn't feel very cool that day at all. I felt quite uncool. And I did some quite uncool things to 3 other teams. Luckily, I came second because the very cool Chaos Hugs, Hugo, lovely Hugo, played a proper team. He played High Elves and he won. This was back when High Elves were a bit shit. And he won by playing actual Blood Bowl, so that was nice to see. But yeah, it was a deeply uncool experience. One I don't plan to repeat. I've done it once, that's enough. I've licked the lid of that and I found it sour. But I did win 3 games and came second. I think they're really uncool. The question for me is can we keep them out of Elon Musk? Do the pump wagons, are they just enough to hold them out of the toilet? Hargrim, there's a big head shake. We can see beard hairs twinkling. Why are they still Elon? Why are they Elon
saving
Musk?
graces. They have no saving graces. They're just horrible. You're miserable playing them. You're miserable playing against them. They're anti-Blood Bowl. They're anti-fun. It's just get rid of them, please. Games Workshop, if you're listening, get rid of them.
And give us the Night Goblins and Squigs we all deserve. I will come to you in a minute, Breakmonker. You've been the one trying to save them. Hex, can they pull themselves above the toilet rim of being Elon Musk?
I'm not sure. I think the closest I've seen them to being cool. My round 1 opponent at NAFC had a Snotling team, and it was entirely Mr. Blobbies.
Okay.
Little tiny Mr. Blobbies. Mr. Blobbies on segways. He had 2 Troll Edmonds. I don't think it's enough.
I'm sorry, you're putting Mr. Blobby and Noel Edmonds forwards as proof that something isn't deeply uncool.
That's what I'm saying is that's like...
I think this is the man saying, look, guns are safe, as he shoots himself in the head. To me, that's yet further evidence. Okay. Yeah. If the only thing that can save them is Blister Blobby, Breakmonker, is there any defence left?
No, I was just going to say when Hargrim was saying to Games Workshop, I don't think he was very clear with his opinion. Actually, I think it was it's a little bit mixed, but I was going to agree with him.
Okay, it's there. Snotlings go with dwarves. They are deeply uncool, and if you're coaching them, you perhaps ought to be ashamed. Unless you're just having fun, in which case, coach gnomes or goblins, and people won't hate you as much. That's my.
I will say, as it was pointed out in chat by Jock as well, Volcayo played a hell of a lot of games of Snotlings on Fumble, and he ended up quitting the game.
Yeah.
Point proven.
I mean, there's a much more interesting point there for a much more serious podcast about when people look to break the game. Is that a late stage Blood Bowler? Is that someone who's looking to maybe leave the game? There we are. I brought us all down with a serious point about a much-loved community member that no longer plays Blood Bowl. Hooray! Exactly what this light-hearted summer episode is supposed to be about. So far, just to briefly recap, we think that Chaos Dwarves and Elven Union are Sub-Zero. Black Orcs, Chaos Renegades and Dark Elves are cool. We think Bretonnians are incredibly mid. We think Amazons and Chaos Chosen are uncool. And poor Dwarves and Snotlings are deeply, deeply, deeply uncool. They are Ugg boots. They are wearing flares, and not ironically. They are super, super uncool. Okay, let's crack on and see if we can get a couple more done before we're all too tired. I said we would have some shout-outs. Let's have another one. Hexbaron, pick a race that you want to talk about.
I'm gonna go for the one that people probably associate me with. It's Imperial Nobility. They are the coolest team, in my opinion.
Imperial
I love Imperial Nobility. I think that they are interesting. They've got interesting dynamics. They've got different positionals. They are not.
Just pause for a second while I do the compulsory. Oh, so you like a knob joke? There we are. We've all done it. We don't have to do any more unless we really feel like it.
There we go. Exactly.
Good.
You can crack
out the way.
I think that they're not sweaty. They're not just going to win every game. I think they're a really interesting team to play. I played a bunch of them last year, and I thought they were a really, really good puzzle. The models are right. I think, like the Black Orcs, the models are fine. I wish they were a bit more distinct in the positions. The GW teams, I think I've seen better third-party teams. But I like the theme. I like the style, and I think that they are. I think like Chaos Dwarves, I think they have a really good mixture of interest when playing, and I think they're a really cool team.
In the words of Arsene Wenger, everyone thinks they'll have the prettiest wife at home. One of the greatest things that man ever said, when told that the Arsenal winning team was not as good as the Man United team. He said, every man thinks he has the prettiest wife at home. And they're wrong, because I do. Breakmonker, tell me what your view is on Imperial Nobility. With or without knob jokes, up to you.
You've definitely stolen the thunder on the knob jokes. I mean, that is a big downer to start off with, right? It's just too much talk about penis is a big. It just takes them down straight away.
There we hear. You hear it here first. Monica down on the D.
An offensive amount of stand firm, enough to ruin someone's life and day. Like, if you don't have something to deal with it, it's just. It's game ruiningly unfun for your opponent, so that can be a thing. And they are the David Camerons of human teams, right? They are the nobility, right? They are the Conservative Party of Blood Bowl.
Are you saying you think this is the Blood Bowl team that would fuck a pig for a dare?
Yeah, they're all from Eton College, and they are the nobility, and I just can't buy into that. So. They are polar opposite. They're down in the uncool area for me.
Okay. Wow. Wow. We have some spicy disagreement and possibly finally something interesting to say on the podcast. Hargrim, talk to me about knobs.
I kind of agree with both sides. Reason being is I think that there are some really, really cool aspects to nobility. For example, the whole, it's a puzzle for yourself if you're playing them, but it's also a puzzle for your opponent if they're playing against them. It's just this two-way puzzle that I find really, really cool.
Is the puzzle, why the hell is this person playing nobility?
Yes. It's like, what's going on in their minds? I want to crack open their skull, see what, not like actually crack open, you know what I mean.
Yes.
It's the puzzle for me that I find really, really interesting when playing against knobs, because you really have to think about especially if you're playing some types of teams, you have to think about not getting bogged down, and how do you go about that? How do you deal with that without necessarily just banging them out? Yes, there's a banging knobs joke there. I'm not going to say more than that. On the other hand, I also agree with Breakmonker in the fact that there is an egregious amount of stand firm and an egregious amount of, oh god, I have to get through this somehow, and how do I do it? Especially with a lot of teams that don't have the maneuverability. It can be miserable, it can be great. It's that I'm very on the fence with them. I'm leaning more towards their cool than their uncool, however.
I mean, maybe it's an age thing. Perhaps those of us that have been around longer just realise how toxic the nobility has always been to the common man. And those of you younglings just haven't lived through enough to have seen them take away all of your money and own all of the houses. As well as just say, Dorset. Here's Dorset. Oh, thanks. I think it's very complicated in my head, nobility. I absolutely agree with most of the things people have said, and I don't vote Liberal, so that's unusual for me. I do agree with Breakmonker that the name is rubbish. And also, if the nobility wants to take the field and it's all about paying a team around him so that we can have a different human team, then where is he? Why isn't he on the field? Where's a figure representing him that I can try and foul every single turn going, ha ha ha, take that, posho. So there's that. I sort of missed that when they were released. I thought giving the retainers, or whatever they're called, the lineman pieces, I thought
Containers, yeah.
it was nice that you could just sort of stand on them and there was nothing they could do. And if you didn't hit them, they couldn't fend their way away, so they were really in trouble. And now they can move, and that's not quite so cool. But we took a pace off the bodyguards, which I guess helps make them more interesting, a bit more unique. And move 5 as their strong positional piece is kind of fun. But I'm going to go out on a limb
minus
here.
agility as well?
No, their agility stayed the same, but they lost a point of movement, as far as I'm aware.
Right, okay.
Hex will know, he plays them or not.
Yeah, Agi 3+.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know this is going to not make sense from someone that doesn't paint, and I know the painters like them, at least most seem to. I bloody hate the figures. I think they were leaning into let's make Blood Bowl comedy, which at the time was kind of the vibe Blood Bowl seemed to want to go for, together with the Halloween-themed necromantic, which I don't mind, except the pumpkin-headed zombie and the, as I've said before, the wraith that, considering how cool wraiths can be, a wraith that looks like my dad in the 1970s going to a fancy dress party he couldn't be asked and didn't want to go to in the first place.
It's a sheep.
I just don't think that's okay. Yeah, exactly. That's all he would ever do. And it would smell vaguely of Benson and Hedges. Now, perhaps that's just entirely too personal, but I didn't love the whole Blood Bowl is so stupid, let's make everything stupid sort of mini era we had in Blood Bowl. And I do think all of the feathers kind of lean into that in a way that I don't look at them and think, oh, there's a team that could really mess you up as they charge towards you with a ball in their hand.
I remember painting a lot of feathers on Warhammer Fantasy Empire models, and it had that same vibe. I really liked the Empire Greatswords, one of my favourite units to paint, to play.
Right.
And I got a bit of an Empire Greatswords vibes when I was.
They had feathery hats and things, didn't they?
They had feathery hats. They had the frilly trousers and they had the nice armor plates and stuff. And
did they look completely stupid and not frightening at all? Yeah, I suppose that's okay, but it reminds me. I briefly stayed with my parents in Hitchin, and there was a man that used to walk around. I say man, he was perhaps 20. He used to walk around every day in spats that sort of hadn't been cleaned for a few months, and a full, monkey suit and spats, and he didn't look cool. He looked a lot of things. He was interesting. He was different. I think the official term is challenged, but he definitely wasn't cool. I don't think anything about the look of Imperial Nobility is cool. I do like that they have 2 good players, and that it's all about how you use and utilise those. I think that's kind of cool. I think the stand firm mechanic was deeply uncool in Season 2, but now that Nurgle have taken that spot of just being completely awful in every way, somehow they're Imperial Nobility are a bit less annoying in comparison.
Yeah, because they've got a new lower tone to be compared against to, so they can't be the bottom.
Yeah, exactly.
They could be strength 4 stand firm. That'd be worse. So they're not that.
Like, I'm old enough to remember when we only had 4 channels in the UK, unless you had Sky or whatever. And everyone said, oh, Channel 4, that's the down market one that does all the tabloid stuff. And then Channel 5 was launched. And everyone went, oh, isn't Channel 4 brilliant and really grown up? Because Channel 5 was just so full of just utter diarrhea turned into television. And I sort of feel that's happened to Knobs with Nurgle. They've got cooler by comparison to something even less cool doing what they did that was uncool in an even less cool way. So I am prepared to give them some points there. They're definitely not Sub-Zero, though, are they? The feathers. No one with those feathers and puffy trousers. Outside of MC Hammer, who will be cool till I die. No one with puffy trousers is cool. So where exactly are we going to put them on this tier list? I don't have any strong feelings because I just don't have particularly strong feelings about them. So to me, I'm pretty tepid on them. Anyone want to tell me I'm deeply wrong?
I'm going to defer to the council.
Okay.
I think
you realise you just alienated our entire American audience. Oh no, there was a chance they didn't realise that council means local government in the UK. So
I think me and Hex could meet in the middle.
Okay, where's that?
Well, I think that's tepid, isn't it? Because I'm punting for uncool here. That's where I think they're down. They're not Elon Musk.
I mean, I'm slightly with you.
They're a great team to play with. I think they're tactically interesting, but like they aren't cool. You don't go when someone sits down against you. Go, oh, what a cool team you've chosen. Yeah. Oh, I love all. No, you don't. You're just like, oh.
I definitely can't have anything with that many knob jokes above tepid. I'm not having it.
No. I've always
Tepid. I
felt
think
whenever
tepid in
I've
the end.
sat down across an Imperial Nobility team, I'm just like, eh. There's been no strong feelings about it. It's just very whatever. Game will go the way it goes.
Tepid it is. I've already done it. It turns out I didn't need more discussion than that. It possibly didn't even need that much. That's how tepid I feel they are. Now we come to a team that I think might polarise, but someone hasn't had a shout out, so let's do that first.
Well, I think it makes sense to talk about Nurgle because we just kind of touched them there.
Okay, so you're going to use your shout out to bring Nurgle to the fore.
Yeah,
Now, what's not to love about Nurgle? They are now super cool. They've moved forwards in so many ways from Season 2, when they were just a boring, generic, not quite as good as Chaos Chosen. And now they're just completely unique and fun.
Yeah, of course they are. I just played the most recent tournament, and
As
they
them
are
or against them?
with them for 6
Okay.
games, and yeah, they are the team that just ruin everyone else's day, and that actually isn't cool. I found out that isn't cool. You can win with them, but that isn't cool. You turn up and everyone else goes, "Oh, yeah." It's exactly what I was just saying about Imperial Nobility, but it's worse because yeah, you're absolutely right, X. The strength force that's harder to deal with. They've got all this jumpy up BS, which is just ridiculous.
Stink
steady
me up.
footing.
You have to
Yeah,
keep your beast somewhere useful, and then it
Ah.
stinks people onto their feet.
They've got better, and that's good that they've got better, but they got better in a worse way, in a way that ruins people's fun. And we all play this game for fun, and it turns out they make that worse, even though you can win with them. So
I think steady footing and pick me up are both uncool.
yeah, I'm
Agreed.
even thinking it's Elon Musk actually after playing with them.
Did you think it was
Yeah.
uncool when it was on a pig? When it was pig me up?
No, it was cool. It was cool on pig.
So what's cool
was-
for
it
a
was
pig isn't cool for
cool.
a spawn of Nurgle.
The
Is that what you're
the
telling me?
difference is
One
you've
of those
got a
is-
little pig running around feeding people beer. That's
One of those
cool.
is strength 1 and little tiny friendly guy, and the other is a big horrible strength 5 monster. Yeah.
The London Massive do love their Nurgle. Now, I do live in London, even though I'm not part of the London Massive. I'm not a member of any of their teams. I am proudly Ronin. But they're going to get very cross with me if I put Nurgle way down low.
That's fine. They're from London.
Breakmonker, would you coach them at a tournament again?
No, actually, because the game. This is a bit meta. It's not necessarily about the teams. Is why do we play? Why do we go to tournaments? One of the
Bloody
main
good
reasons
question.
is to have fun with the person that you're playing with, right? You share an experience. You go through 2 hours sitting next to this person, and if you can visibly see them not enjoy the experience because they can't do anything because you're disturbing presence and foul appearance, it's just you've ruined the game. So I won't be taking them again. Yeah,
I mean, that sounds pretty Elon Musk level to me.
Elon Musk after my experience.
Hex, can you save them? Can you pull them out of the toilet of Elon Musk?
The thing I will say is, are they cooler than Chaos Chosen? Because they have picked a god. They have got a much better, stronger theme than Chaos Chosen. They've got the Rot Spawn rather than a Ogre / Minotaur. They've got their Chaos Warriors have got some mutations. They've got some more flavor. Admittedly, it's a pretty gross Nurgle flavor, but they've got more flavor than a Chaos Chosen team.
Yes, but
The model
if
pretty
the
cool.
flavour
I like the model.
if the flavour is nasty, I don't want more flavour. I want less flavour. If the flavour is me sucking on something that tastes of poo, I'd rather it didn't have any flavour than have that flavour. If what
That
they
was my
do that
attempt
is
to say.
different is be annoying and obnoxious, then I'd rather
probably
they
worse.
were silent, like my children when I used to bind them and lock them in the cupboard.
And so
There are some things that just
maybe-
shouldn't be tolerated.
And maybe then, if they're less cool than Chaos Chosen and Chaos Chosen are uncool, can they?
Hargrim, can we save them from Elon Musk level uncoolness? Nurgle, come on.
I don't.
Papa
think so,
Nurgle, good
unfortunately.
cuddly Papa Nurgle.
I don't think so. Other than the fact that they're like the bubonic plague of the game, other than snotlings. There is a cure, but it's just I don't think there's, as Breakmonker so nicely put, it's just unfun. You just watch the life being drained out of your opponent's eyes if you're playing them, and you can see yourself and the life drain out of your eyes as you're playing against them. It's just
Yeah.
It's not fun. They have the trifecta of some of the most annoying things in the game: pick me up, steady footing, and stand firm.
Ode to Joy is very wise, and then he mostly repeats things I've said. And one of the things he's just said in the chat is that Nurgle are what people thought dwarves were in Season 2. They are toxic, no one has a good time, they're miserable to face, they're miserable to coach. You're not going to get any joy out of them, you're not going to get any fun out of them, and if you ever do knock them over, they're going to steady footing and then laugh at you. If we had a bin, they would go in the bin. But instead, I'm going to liken them to Elon
Problem is,
Musk.
if you put them in the bin, they're going to enjoy it.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. So they're Elon Musk for me. Snotlings, Nurgle, and dwarves. I just don't see how people can argue with that. The wisdom of us is writ large there in the 3 down in the bottom tier. Right, I'm going to pick one because I should get to have some fun. I am going to pick Skaven. Now, everyone that has ever coached Skaven, we should round them up, put them in a rocket, and fire it at the sun. The human race does not need them.
Except me.
If you've done it once, I'll give you a parachute. You can fight your way out and see if you can land it. But if you've done it more than once, there's no hope for you. You're a bad person.
But you forget, I'm magnanimous. I give away wins.
Have you coached Skaven?
Unfortunately, yes.
Get in the rocket! We don't need you. Right, Skaven. Look, Reddit's right. It doesn't matter that they've been nerfed down to 2 gutter runners, because instead they gave them beautiful blitzers that can now break tackle and steal your ball and do all sorts of evil things and now move as fast as a bloody gutter runner. They've got cheap line people, and particularly I always despise the fact that they can one turn without even trying to. Even people that just weren't aware of one turns could just sit in a scout hut with 2 other people that don't know Blood Bowl and are more interested in 40k and work out, oh, with this race I can one turn. Just nothing about rats is good. My wife hates rats. There's a long story where one was running towards her eyes. Rats are bad. We shouldn't have rats. We shouldn't be trying to be rats. They would eat your face if they could, rats. They're not your friends. And people that coach them just want easy wins. They don't want competitive Blood Bowl. And the changes that have happened to them in Season 3 make them worse. Because now they're even less likely to play Blood Bowl, even more likely to just run away and one turn. Get in the bin, they're Elon Musk.
For every bullet point you just went through, right, how many of those were your actual point? Or how many of those were Devil's Advocate? You just need to give me a ratio.
All of them. I despise rat coaches. I despise Skaven. They are the most evil thing in Blood Bowl, apart from Argue the Pow.
Well, I don't know. I think there's some other points in there.
I'm going to give you a chance to make them, and then overrule you.
Sneaky Ratmen. That's quite fun. Like the theme of that's quite good. They have got the best positional in the game, the Gutter Runner. I've played a lot with them, just a few games. And I think they're really fun. Giant rat ogres as well. They're pretty cool. Raging beasts, giant rats. That's pretty cool. I think they've got a lot going for them. I think they're pretty cool. Actually.
Yeah, they've got a lot going for them. Do you know how much it costs to buy a war dancer? Quick pop quiz.
120.
How much does it cost to buy a bull centaur?
110.
How much for a werewolf?
120.
I mean, some of those numbers are right, but they're all well above 100. That's the point. How much to buy a gutter runner?
80.
It's like changed, doesn't it?
It's 85 now, yeah. They have one of the best pieces in the game, and it's under 100k. None of the other pieces we consider the best pieces in the K are anywhere near 100k. Hargrim was wrong. They're all more expensive than that. So just get in the bin. Just get in the damn bin. They're awful. Yeah. Some people in chat have got the right answers. I'll let you at home decide on your own answers.
I like the theme. I like. I think Ratmen. Maybe it's like an old sort of fantasy feeling, Mordheim or something like that as well. I like the feel. I think that they have interesting dynamics with a range of different positionals. Somewhat like I think that the Gutter Runners got more interesting now. There's only 2 of them. I think. Because you don't just have 4 Gutter Runners everywhere all the time. I think that I agree. I agree that the whole just run away in one turn is a problem, but I think that's less of a problem for Skaven because they have a lot of strength 3 pieces. I think it's more of a problem for Underworld. I think that they lean into it even more. They want to spend 8 turns running away and fouling you and then one turning. So I think they can play a proper game of Blood Bowl. So I don't think they can be Elon Musk personally. I could see them being uncool. I personally think they're tepid. Like I think that when my opponent pulls out Skaven, I'm like, yeah, fine, it's Skaven.
You know,
they're probably going to try.
There's a button I can press that adds a whole new row. I can put them in below Elon Musk. Hargrim, should I?
It's tempting. I will say, I agree with you on almost everything except for one thing. Rats on space cocaine. That's pretty funny. They like taking warpstone. They mutate things with warpstone. It's basically space cocaine. That's funny to me. That would put them in uncool at best.
The problem I've got with Skaven is, of course, entirely personal. Every race I've ever wanted to play doesn't really have a good answer to the little bastards. So I am scarred from the number of times I have faced someone just gutter running into my face, 2-die uphilling and getting the exact dice they wanted to. Always. Like to the point where I started to build cages with outer rings around them. Not to stop them getting in, because they'll get in anyway, but so that there's some chance it bounces somewhere that one of the other 85 bloody gutter runners for 10p each won't be able to get to. Losing 2 did make them a tiny bit cooler.
They are obviously.
But the one turn's too easy.
It is easy, but there's a lot of stand firm kicking around nowadays, and there's a lot of really good counter positions to the one turn as well. It's not as easy as everyone says. It's like an auto solve. I think
move 9 with sidestep. I could shave a cat and teach it how to do that as a one turn.
Even stand firm. I was about to say, but Nurgle, they're going to stop your one turn. But you put Juggernaut on a Rat Ogre and you do it anyway. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. True.
Unfortunately true, yeah.
So there's a line as to how high I'm going to let them go, because I fucking hate them, and I'm not kidding. And I despise anyone that coaches them full time, except all the people I know that coach them full time that I really like. Like Crystal Hunter's a good friend of mine. I don't hate Olivier Delac. That's about it. The rest
Olivier's
of them
actually quite fun.
Yeah, he is. He's really
Olivier's good to hang around.
I mean, I am to some level joking about Skaven. I accept they exist, and I have to put up with that. I'm never going to enjoy them. I'm never going to like them. I think a lot of that is down to just how many times they've beaten me, and how many times I don't have a team equipped to really do things to them that you need to do to them. But who does? They can, with a move 9 sidestep, you need 2 pushes, and it actually doesn't matter usually if both are pals. You can still get it done. I can't have them above tepid. I just can't. I just can't. Nothing with my name on it will have Skaven higher than a midpoint. But I do think with the new blitzers and only 2 gutter runners, you're forced to take more clan rats, so you're forced to sort of use them as perhaps they should always have been used, which is just as disposable fodder, keeping the few things you care about safe. I actually kind of do look forward to maybe the future when we get clan teams. I think they could be a much more interesting take on Skaven if we got... I mean, lots of people have seen that there's only 2... there is a hatred for constructs, which at the moment can only be gained by being hurt by a golem. And I've always wondered, I wonder if that's there so that we can get, things like a Doom Wheel in. And
or maybe even a Clan Molder team.
Yeah, some of the constructs that Skaven make.
The
and then someone pointed out to me that no, you can also get Hatred Acorn. You can get Hatred Squirrel.
It's Squirrel. Yeah.
So that's even better and even more niche. And it doesn't mean we're expecting a Squirrel.
Yeah, but Acorn is obviously the greatest star player in the game.
This is true. And hating him would be hilarious.
I feel like the Secret League teams for Skaven are cooler.
Yeah, they definitely are. There is definitely space for some cool rat teams that I still won't ever want to play, and will hate you if you do, but will at least be a little cooler. So the question is,
Well,
where,
we can
how
like
high do you
things.
three that aren't as jaded by Skaven as me think they should go? I will leave where amongst the 3 remaining options you can choose it goes up to you 3.
Well, look,
I
I'm
want
going
them in.
to go with. Go on.
Don't all be
Sorry,
polite.
could you
That's
repeat
shit
that?
podcasting.
Repeat that again, Breakmonker.
I was just saying, look, I'm going to vote for Tepid. I can't not defend my little rat friends. So, and also like just because.
Do you want to be known as someone that has rats as friends?
Yes. And there's photographic evidence of this, so yeah,
There is a
absolutely.
very good photo. I know exactly the one you're referring to. It's a very
Okay.
good picture.
Hex, where between Tepid, Uncool, and Elon Musk do you think rats lie?
I don't know. Uncool, probably. I don't think they're Elon Musk. I think that is a bit harsh on them. When you look at the teams that are down there in the Elon Musk tier, I don't think they're there. But
No,
don't
I
know
think
that.
they're lower. I think they are absolutely the fucking scum of Blood Bowl.
I don't know. I think Uncool personally. I
Okay,
think that.
so we've had an Uncool, we've had a Tepid, Hargrim. It is your vote. You get to decide which of those 2 categories it's going in.
They're not quite Elon Musk tier. I would put them in uncool.
Okay, big news for the Skaven. I had imagined they might make it as high as Tepid. With the new redesign, I think they're a lot more interesting. I think they're a lot less toxic and just tedious because they're only 1-turn machines. But yeah, I think it's kind of fair that they have risen. I still personally hate them. But in terms of a service to Blood Bowl, I think Uncool is where they stay for now. We will see where we go maybe deeper in. Let's see if there's any adjustments. We're nearing the 2-hour mark. Is everyone still okay for energy? I'd like to see if we can quickly get a couple more done. And then we're
I
really
slept.
halfway.
I slept awfully, so if we can cut it here, how many teams have we got left?
We've got 18 left.
Yeah. We've done no. That's including Slan. We've got 17.
It is
Not
17 and Slan. If we don't do Slan, I'll be very amused.
Let's do
but
one
I think
more.
we need to. Let's certainly
Let's do
crack
one
one more.
more.
Let's do a nice easy one. Let's grab humans. That can't be hard. Humans. Hexbaron.
Tepid. They're just humans.
They got so much more interesting with 2 less. Well, I'd say 4 less catchers and 2 slightly more interesting blitzers.
You're playing more human linemen. Like
Yeah.
we were talking about being flavorless chaos chosen. Like humans, I think, are slightly more flavorful than chosen. They have blitzers and they've got tackle and you can do things and catchers and move 8 and strength 3 but I just don't think they're not cool.
They're definitely
But
not
that's-
cool.
By definition, they are the average baseline. Like everything's based around them in terms of like the
But
balance.
are
of the
they
game.
still now? It all comes in the box.
But they can't be cool because they are the baseline.
They can't be cool.
They are vanilla.
I agree.
are
They
the
can't
vanilla
be
ice
cool.
cream that goes with everything else.
Hargrim, can they be uncool?
Tepid.
Yeah, I don't think we need to mess around with this
They're
one.
humans. They're humans.
In they go.
In a fantasy world where you have
Yeah.
magic and lizards that can like walk on 2 legs and punch things.
I've already
You
dropped
can
them
be
in
goblins
Tepid.
with chainsaws, but you just pick humans. Like
Yeah, I think it's absolutely where they belong. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We have 17 left to go. If we could slim one more in tonight, we won't do the introductions next week. We'll be straight into them. We'll do a quick hello, and has anything changed in the last week? No, and then we'll do the other 16, I promise, and get done within 2 hours. Pick one more. Pick a nice quick one, and we'll get it done.
Shall we get the elephant in the room out of the way?
Okay.
if it's a fast
That is
one.
Slan.
Oh, you really want to end on Slan?
Oh
tonight?
god, I think we'll be here forever.
I think
we'll
we're
be
here a long
forever.
time on
I
that.
think
Let's do something
yeah.
nice and simple and quick and easy. Let's do ogres. Ogres can't be hard. How cool are ogres, Breakmonker?
I think they're cool, right? They've got a really really simple message. Don't roll a 1 and kill everything that you can see. And they've got the cool factor of if I've chosen them, I know they're not great. I know they're not going to be the best race, and I'm still going to come here and give it a good shot. So I think that they're cool. They turn up to hit stuff. Let's do that.
Yeah, okay. I quite like that. Hex, how cool are they to you?
I think that when an opponent plays a stunty team, I think ogres are one of the more interesting ones, for sure. I think that they have a cool rump punter,
do.
I think punting runs is pretty cool. I think the ability to throw teammate and kick teammate certainly makes it more interesting.
Yep.
They aren't star caddies,
No.
so they're not. It's not just going to be stars like snotlings or other maybe halflings. So I think that's pretty cool. I don't think they're Sub-Zero. They're not that exciting. I could go cool or tepid. I think that's. I'm pretty like middly, but maybe slightly towards cool.
This is why you're the future. You see, you've stolen something I was going to say, which is they're not star caddies, and that makes them cool. So there you are. My endorsement there on your thinking, young man. Hargrim, what's your view on ogres?
I mean, punch stuff, don't roll ones, write down the ogre spirit. The whole, like, ogres just wanting to eat everything that they get their hands on is pretty accurate with the way that they're designed, so I'm going to say cool.
Do we need to talk about Noblars? I mean, we hated snotlings.
That's just more food.
They're so different.
And they're not as annoying.
Yeah.
There's not 12 of them on the pitch. There's only, 5?
Well, it depends. I mean, how many ogres you can afford to take, it limits how many snotlings there are. It's in direct proportion. I've seen some 5 ogre builds. I've seen some 6. I've even seen some 4, and I always think, well, that's not going to work. But I don't see a lot of star ogre builds anymore. You do occasionally, but it's not that common. I agree. I don't think they're not uncool, despite being very bad at Blood Bowl. They're not bad enough to be super uncool for that to be such a limiting factor. They can get some stuff done. You will get some wins with them. Not always just through the casualties, but through the fact you're carrying on something strength 5 and really hard to stop until it stops itself. I don't think they're tepid, because I just think there's something you have an opinion about. So does anyone strongly object to me plopping them in cool?
Nope.
That's where they live.
Yeah.
That's why they
All
are.
day long.
There we go. They're right up there with Dark Elves, Chaos Renegades, Black Orcs, and Ogres. No, I think that's enough. And I think having some time and some space to really talk about them has really worked tonight. So I'm not cross with the fact that we only got halfway, and only then by me ignoring Hargrim, which I normally do anyway, and he doesn't seem to mind, and pushing two more races on him, which will make him even smaller, carrying that weight. If you've been with us for this evening, both in the chat and on the podcasts, I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. It's all we're trying to do, remember, is a light-hearted way of looking at the races in a different way, where we're not just constantly on about, are they any good? We'll probably mention that, but talk about lots of other things. There are lots of other aspects to enjoying this game and this hobby. Even when we have such luminaries as James Bond himself, Hargrim, thank you for your presence this evening. New to the show, we have, of course, the lovely Hexbaron, who is the future, and Breakmonker, who 20 years ago might have been the future, and very briefly for one day was. I hope you've enjoyed coming on, guys. Is there anything... Come on, it's the one. I was really nice. Is there anything you want to say to the world of Blood Bowl before hopefully coming back again next week? Anything you want to say as we say goodnight, Hargrim?
Yes, I'm going to do a bit of shameless promotion for one of the prime Danish tournaments. It is the Copenhagen Pier Bowl. I think it's the 2nd or 3rd weekend of August. It is the 3rd weekend of August, the 15th, 16th. Pairs event right by the sea. We still have slots open. It's going to be an absolute blast. Even Mr. BB Jock himself said it was one of the must-see tournaments.
Yeah, it's really high on my list of things I want to do. I just can't afford it this year. Hopefully I'll be with you in 27. But certainly in the next couple of years, Copenhagen is high on my list. And my partner wants to go see Copenhagen too. So when we feel we have the money and the time, that's one I definitely want to do. Breakmonker, anything you want to say to the world of BB as we say goodnight?
Yeah, just Skaven to tepid. And good night.
And Hexbaron, anything, your final words?
Not that I can think of, but thank you for having me on, and I look forward to being back next week.
It's been a pleasure. The invite is open. I love having different people on. I love new opinions. Once you've been on, particularly, you're always welcome back, unless you were absolutely zero fun and I had to work really hard to get you talking. And that hasn't been the case this evening, so thank you very much. If we could all wave, it finds a nice easy point for me to find in the edit. No ending monologue tonight, except he's wrong. Skaven are going no higher than they are now. And we'll see you in a week when we finish off the races. Okay, so that's the point I edit to. So that is the end of the official podcast. There's still some people in the stream. Thank you very much in the stream tonight, considering the World Cup is on. It's absolutely fantastic that we've had anyone here at all. But we've had a really busy chat, and that is fantastic. I hugely